workout. He's been shut down for nearly 2 weeks because of a finger injury. However, Sam Merrill did not practice, continues to be bothered by that sprained right hand. Browns back to practice this afternoon in Berea, getting ready for Sunday's game in Chicago against the Bears. Going to be the first practice since the team announced that Shidor Sanders will be the starting QB for the final 4 games of the season. Going to hear from head coach Kevin Stfansky later on this morning, 10:55, live here on 92.3 The Fan. The Browns placing both center Ethan Posick and running back Jerome Ford on injured reserve. Posick suffered a torn left Achilles during Sunday's loss against the Titans. Ford is out with a shoulder injury. Both players done for the season. Don't miss the Browns preview show tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carmen Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
The afternoon drive.
It felt really good to be able to have Shidor play the way that he did. Nick, not just the idea that he looked good. You had only Joe Bitonio was the starting lineman from week 1 that was on the field. You were down to 4 backup offensive linemen. You had 3 different pass catchers get injured in that game. He got 64% of pressure on plays, and he was dealing. Like, that was a lot of fun.
I was really worried. I was going to have to come in here and be like, Shidor lost the game, because that's how bad that interception was. Only for that young man to go out and within, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, put together 2 game-winning drives in what I honestly is not even close, the best quarterbacking performance we've seen.
Not even close.
And honestly, not just this year, because that's the lowest bar ever. Probably since Joe Flacco picked one of the games back in 2023.
The afternoon drive. Weekdays starting at 2. Ready. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carmen Show with Anthony Lima.
But I think Browns fans are going to go, this ain't the threat you guys think this is. Because they look at it on Sunday and they go, you tell me analytics, but I got smart people on 2 broadcasts telling me, well, that's what the analytics say, and then we fumble the ball at the 2-yard line, or we try to run a reverse and guys don't know what they're doing with some of this stuff, and you keep telling me all these things that just don't make any sense. And I think a lot of Browns fans look at it and go, I've lost 2 ball games now based on situations where you either made bad decisions in the game or you didn't hold people accountable for what they messed up in the football game, notably as assistant coaches.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. And obviously, we talked about this yesterday. I mean, I was on board with firing everybody last year at the end of last year. But when you But when you bring these guys back or whatever, and then it is pretty clear, and we again, you weren't on board with me when I said before the season started that this is an evaluation year. They're going to play a bunch of rookies, and this quarterback situation lends itself to being pretty transparent that the coach isn't really being put in a spot where they're supposed to win games this year. And once you look at it through the lens of this was always a punt year, when you take that out and don't make that the priority, then you're left with this situation.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Hello.
Kenny.
Hi.
You just told me what the weather was.
On Sunday.
It's going to pertain to what we were going to talk about.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I cannot fathom being outside for 3 hours.
The fathoms.
After yesterday being in our garage with the door open and welcoming in that new 2 Series snowblower.
Yeah. The first one you sent back, we're not going to have that conversation.
Yeah, that was a total disaster. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. And then last year we went no snowblower. And this year we went snowblower. And why did we go snowblower? Because the wife just went ahead and ordered it. Because, and this actually upsets me, I really enjoyed Thanksgiving night being outside shoveling.
Oh, God, you're crazy.
It was an hour and a half.
You're 44.
It wasn't that cold.
You're 44.
And I got to listen to podcasts and I was out.
I can't do this show I'm going to tell you this. If you end up having a heart attack out there, it'll be, first off, it'll be one of the all-time upsets that you die before me. One of the all-time upsets. Second of all, who am I going to host the show with? I can't host the show with anybody else.
We've got some up-and-comers.
Nah, not like you. Nah.
Hold on, wait a second.
They'll back down at the pressure.
Hold on.
I'm a notorious banker downer. You can't. You're the one who stands up to it. They'll all back down to the pressure.
It's like the Browns quarterback chase. Do you want the retread bridge? Do you want the up-and-comer? The prodigy? Who did they hire for the new CBS Sports Radio, which was then Entercom, which is now, what is the company called? Infinity?
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that right now, bud.
They had a press release, didn't they?
Oh, okay. There was a guy from
I put an embargo on our show, though.
There's a fine young man from the Savannah Bananas.
It was a guy I've never heard of, and they're like, he's the morning show.
He'll be good.
They got the point guard from the Harlem Globetrotters in the afternoon.
Do they really?
No.
Oh.
I didn't know that. Past him.
I didn't know that.
They didn't come after us to do a national show.
Let's not talk about that. It's not going to... Who would I host it with? Not Jason Lloyd. He'd be good for one day, and then the rest of the time he just puts his feet... He literally put his feet up and started eating his breakfast one time on the air. And like I'm at the start of a segment, I turn my mic off, I'm like, what the F are you doing? This is before we had cameras. I'm like...
A bag of granola.
And he started laughing. I go, no, I'm putting this on the air. I go, he's eating... of all the things you're eating, and you're eating granola. Grainy things that get stuck in your mouth. I'm like, what are you doing eating your bread? By the way, Jason will be with me on Friday.
Friday.
I go, what are you doing?
The one show.
You're eating breakfast on the air. It's like the one thing you can't do. Like, you can sit there and sip away at coffee or God knows what. That's what we do. But you're sitting there eating your bread. And this is coming from me.
Well, it's a radio show. You could play a game and have people guess what he's eating.
No. We're on TV now, or we're on YouTube now, so they
give
can
it
see
away.
it. So anyway, back to you. Back to what you...
So, this is what I want to say. So, Shidor Sanders, Quinshon Judkins, Myles Garrett, they're going to be outside. I know they have heaters when they go off to the sideline, but when they're on the field, each time, like, how long is if they can pull off a 10-play drive, how long is a 10-play drive going to be? And both teams are probably going to do this. They're probably going to try to ball control it. I mean,
you can go 6 to 8 minutes on a 10-play drive.
6 to 8 minutes. I can tell you that yesterday, where it said 30 degrees but felt like 12, 13, 14, I made it 6.5 minutes, and I told my father-in-law,
I'm talking 6 to 8 game minutes. That's like 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes.
Real time.
While I was outside for 30 minutes, I was useless after the first 7. I didn't have No, this was yesterday with the snowblower. I didn't have the right gloves.
Oh,
because we're putting it together.
Just setting it up.
We're setting it up. We're putting pins in this, taking bolts out and putting them back in, fastening the handle, then adding the spout or whatever you want to call it into the flange.
Getting a real teapot situation.
Just a bunch of things I don't know about.
You didn't have to bolt the motor to it, did you?
No, but the handle and then...
Oh, that's not that bad.
No, it's for people that use wrenches and sockets.
What are you rolling with there? A Briggs & Stratton 900 series?
I don't do any of this stuff.
Yeah. So
got a Husqvarna?
Well, so Bernie just did it for you, basically?
I stood there with the owner's manual and a YouTube. That is what I did because Bernie ran into a couple issues.
You're the owner. He's doing the work.
Which then meant I had to take the gloves off. And when
now we're going to take the gloves off.
And this show takes the gloves off. I was hoping the afternoon show would take the gloves off yesterday with Albert. Why didn't they?
We're going to keep moving on. I'm not talking about afternoon shows here.
I was so confused. All the tough talking I heard, and then Breer came on, and they're like, okay, makes sense.
Snowblower.
So... I was
moving on.
I was enamored. There was the IntelliPower, which of course
is
designed to deliver consistent power in heavy and wet snow conditions.
What kind of this thing?
The Track Drive, designed to provide steady traction in extreme weather conditions. Oh, the EFI, Kenny. This is equipped with EFI, allowing for easy starting in most conditions. No need to prime. Maintain steady walking speed.
You got a Cub Cadet?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Nice. Congratulations on all your success.
Originally started by the International Corporation, I believe. The Cub Cadet is one of the top manufacturers of American agricultural.
Look, I need to renegotiate a contract over here. Listen, I knew he was doing well. I didn't know he was doing that well.
The DR Field and Stream Trimmer or whatever you got the manual for was good.
What I know is it's going to throw that slushy mess a good 25 to 30 feet on 3/4 throttle. Wow. It's going to do it.
Wow.
Is it 28 inches or 24 inches?
28.
20? Yeah. And you have a white... Oh, my God.
Of course, you got a steel auger on that thing, right?
Well, yes.
Hell yeah, it's a Cub Cadet. Let's not ask silly questions here, Owen.
Father-in-law showed me about the... Now, mind you, when he had me walk around the thing, he got me walking around the whole thing.
Of course you do.
And I'm looking at the auger, and he's explaining the throttle and all this, and then we've got the push start when it's plugged in and all of that. So he's showing me all this, and I'm sitting here going... Don't care, can't feel my hands. Can't feel my hands. When do I get to go inside?
my God!
He's like, well,
you're
you
raising his grandson. Please act like a man.
He goes, you got to come out here, and you've got to, we've got to go through this a little bit. And there was a little bit of snow to throw through, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And then meanwhile, I'm thinking, when do I get to go inside? When do I get to go inside? This reminds me of when I was 6 years old. Out the few moments I do have with my dad, out in the garage, hating life, while he's trying to show me tools.
Yeah, well, at least you weren't being told to not talk to anybody about this copper.
That was hidden. That was in a different compartment.
That's an epidemic right now over in Slavic Village, by the way. So be careful.
Yeah.
Mason gets a little bit older. I can't make those jokes anymore, so I got to make them while I can.
So here's the thing. You're right. I'm going to be raising kids, but in a different generation, and I am going to be useless to them.
No, you won't.
Because my whole thought was, when I was chasing whatever this stupid career is, was so that I didn't have to be outside for prolonged periods of time.
And now you're going to be outside. But it's going to be easier now. So I love my snowblower. I'm a big fan of my snowblower, and I like to take care of it. I actually came home one day to my neighbor 2 weeks ago. He was snowblowing my driveway, and I was thankful for what he did, but I also lost the opportunity to use the snowblower. First off, congratulations on all your success again for your Cub Cadet, which always reminds me of starting lineups brought to you by Cub Cadet. Cub Cadet premium lawn equipment for your Cleveland Cavaliers at guard. Mo Williams, 8th-year player out of Alabama. Anyway,
we had some DiGiorno pizza afterwards.
DiGiorno, better time for DiGiorno pizza. Okay, now what? Now you understand about the is it regular gas, regular fuel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do I tell him about the shear pins, or do I let him learn that lesson on his own?
No. Well,
you got to go get extra shear pins.
Okay, he explained this to me.
He did?
Yes.
Damn it, Bernie, come on. We had one of the old-time pranks getting ready.
Yes, he did. And he also showed me where there's going to be wear and tear over time, and how, we'll have to pay close attention to make sure if the bottom, as it's scraping over time, can...
Now, what did he tell you about the spring?
Ooh, I don't know. What about the spring?
Did he? Now this is controversial.
It comes after winter.
We're gonna go around the room here. Do you use stabilizer or do you let it run out?
Oh, you're talking about like a stay-bill type of let it run out.
Oh, I use stabilizer. I don't like to run it out. I use stabilizer.
What language are we speaking
siphon,
here?
Though, so
okay. Well, I don't like the wires the wires. I don't like the lines to not have anything in there.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I want them to remain wet because depending on when you do it, if you have a light winter, like there's been I've seen situations already. Boy, this is a way to start off a sports show. I've seen situations already where because I'm from Stark County, and so there are a few hard winters, and then you won't get bad winter for 2 years. And there are people who leave their snowblowers without any fuel in it, without any moisture in it whatsoever, and your line will start to rot. And then you go to use it in the winter, and you have rotted lines. You're going, it's not starting. I don't know what's going on, because you don't know what you're doing. So I like to use stabilizer in the spring. Use the stabilizer in the spring. And I always come outside and I show Axel what to do. So you do the opposite.
We winterized everything with the mower and everything.
Winterize
You're doing
things,
the opposite.
and then you summarize your snow blower is what you do. And then you got to make sure you keep it. You're going to have to do the mice thing, because they'll get in there in the summer and they'll start eating away at some of that stuff. That's another reason I like to leave gas in there, because then they smell some of that stuff and they stay away from it.
Oh no!
Sometimes,
and they'll get in that shed, won't they? They'll figure it out.
Well, I mean, you're going to have in your garage. You're going to have meese. Oh yeah, you're going to have animals in there at some point, little critters.
We'll have it in the shed.
Okay, and you will. If you store it in the shed, you will absolutely get mice in there.
No.
Dude, they only need a hole like that big. It is a very small hole that they can get through. So you just got to set some traps up and things like that.
Dora out in the shed.
Yeah.
Get to work.
Yeah, she'll take care of it.
Free rides over.
So the bigger point was, I cannot understand people like my father-in-law can be outside. Now again, they're dressed for it the right way. I wasn't. And
they're also hardened.
And they're hardened over time. He just had a big birthday. Happy birthday to Bernie, the father-in-law.
Happy birthday, Bernie.
Had family in from out of town. Anyway,
that's right.
He was able
dude, man.
He was able to be out there. And then just calmly, as long as it takes, I will be out here. And all I kept thinking was, I want to go inside. When do I get to go inside?
You gotta be
and
man.
so it begs the question, that's me. I'm 44. I'm not a tough guy. I'm not a man's man. Are all football players man's man, men's men?
Perfect.
Are they all? Because what is
David Njoku went out there shirtless.
But that's all the show to get them psychologically ready.
In Chicago, Illinois, it's supposed to be a high on Sunday, a 13. Real feel is, I talked to Dante Jones about this yesterday. Real feel is negative 24.
Who can we talk to that played in that Saints Christmas Eve game?
Deshaun Watson.
Who else can we talk to who is out there?
Kevin Stfansky coached in it.
Yeah, well, that would come on with us.
We talked to him off the air about it.
And explain to us how...
Rodney McLeod.
How was he... He was there?
He was part of that, right?
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I want to find out how bad that was. And then can you imagine if you're the quarterback and you have to be out there, and what's the coldest temperatures? I know we got in this big thing about, and by the way, Shidor looked great in the weather, but it's going to be a lot colder now. So what's the coldest he's ever actually thrown a football in?
Boulder in November, right? At altitude.
That's true. I'm not sure. I got to find the box score. All right, Nick Chubb was in that game. We ain't talking to him.
What season was it?
This is 2022. David Njoku.
Rodney wasn't there.
Mari Cooper. Rodney was not there. Reggie Ragland.
Okay.
We had Reggie
I forgot
Ragland on the
about
team.
that.
Chase Winovich. God, I remember how overrated he was.
Yeah.
Joel was in the game. You want me to ask him about that today? If I go see him today?
Yes, 100%. I want to know because he's an offensive lineman,
It's
so
cold out. It's gonna be
he's
cold.
supposed to be fine. He's
He
supposed
is the man's man.
Yes. Yeah, Wyatt Teller, guys like that, I would assume that they almost invite it. Unless that's just their outward appearance and internally they're like, oh, God, it's going to suck.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, 1 catch, 2 yards.
What a weird game that was,
17-10.
Remember they were showing the stadium fall apart basically beforehand? I'm like, oh, they're good.
That one pipe burst.
The pipe burst, and I'm like, they're getting a new stadium.
By the way, it is not two cycle oil, right? It is just regular gasoline.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you pour regular gasoline in a 2-cycle oil engine, you're going to have more hell over it than a little bit. I'm going to let you know that right now.
I got the whole breakdown.
Called you young man. You're 5 years older than me. All right. There are a lot of people making snow shoveling and snow blowing jokes about you right now. There was a lot of snow in his day. It just happened to be in bathrooms in downtown Cleveland. Now it's right out there in his driveway. Let he who did not whatever about the sins and the stones and the whatnot, guys. A lot of you guys did the same thing.
Throw the first stones.
Don't get stones in that auger, though.
I've met a lot of you guys at Browns tailgates who happen to do a lot of skiing with my friend here. Don't even start to throw your stones. Coming up at 9:20 this morning, Jake Diebler going to join us on the show. Head coach of the Buckeyes men's basketball team. They're coming to town this weekend. And we'll go around the AFC North at 8 o'clock. Coming up next, speaking of snow, would Kevin like to go to a different climate? Because Albert Breer, I picked up some hemming and hawing in this clip we're going to play for you coming up in 5 on The Fan.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
Now the Cavaliers...
until kickoff.
The Fan Bud Light Tailgate Show is powered by the Valley Automotive Group.
Smiley One, heating, cooling, and plumbing.
Smiley One in Brian, doing whatever it takes. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns.
Here we go, Brownies! Here we go!
92.3 The Fan.
All day long. All day.
All the time.
At work.
92.3thefan.com and the Odyssey app.
Check it out.
So it's been asked before, it's been talked about before. I would say probably the answer is yes. When you think about your own situation, I think a lot of fans actually want the answer to be yes, but there's no better time for discussion than right now. It's Wednesday. We're getting ready for the Chicago Bears on Sunday. Another big test for Shidor Sanders. Going to be cold out there. Real feel, negative 24. Going to be cold, cold, cold out there. Buddy, it's not like he hasn't played in the snow and cold before. He went to Colorado University, or the University of Colorado. I don't know how they say it. It always says CU on the thing, so I'll say Colorado University. Anywho, Albert Breer was on Afternoon Drive yesterday, as he's wont to be on a Tuesday. And they asked him about Kevin Stfansky and whether or not he'd actually prefer a fresh start somewhere else.
I think he likes the people that he works with. This is just my opinion. I think he likes working with the Haslams. I think he's got a good working relationship with them. I think, obviously he and Andrew Berry have a good rapport. I just think so much has happened in the last 6 years. I think it is fair to ask that question. Is this the right mix to go forward with based on the history that everybody has together? You went through the Baker thing together, which clearly Baker would have been a better answer at quarterback. You wind up making the trade for Deshaun Watson. Clearly that was a mistake. And you had this core of players that I think was very clearly a playoff caliber core. And because of the mess at quarterback, the chance that core of players had of really competing at the highest level was completely undermined, right? So that's your history right now. So how do you come out of that? That doesn't mean the people can't work together or there aren't good people. But I think when that's your history, your working history with someone, it can be a little bit difficult to come out of that. So I think that's something that everybody's going to have to evaluate at the end of the year.
That is Albert Breer yesterday on Afternoon Drive. Now, at the beginning of that clip, I didn't get the right clip that I wanted. I'll blame myself on that. He does a lot of hemming and hawing. And Albert's very good at hearing things and not exactly giving it away. I think that he's kind of going between maybe a little bit of his own opinion there at the very, very, very beginning, which you didn't get to hear. You got to go back and listen to the whole thing, 923thefan.com. Or maybe it has been said to him. I mean, you keep mentioning him with these other teams. And he's brought it up before in his podcast about other teams. Why do they keep getting mentioned? Is there an agent saying something? Are there other front offices saying something here? I think this is going to be a little bit more murky than we think it's going to be. Usually on January 5th is that Monday. January 4th is when the season ends. January 4th, usually Jimmy Haslam does the press conference in the bowels of whatever stadium he is in when they let go of a coach and they talk about the next coach, and then that's it. Except when Freddie got let go, then they all came back and Freddie had his shirt tails out and who knows what he did, but that's a different story for a different day maybe. But I don't think it's going to be like that. I got a guy like Albert Breer. If I'm Jimmy Haslam hearing this, I go, well, if he wants out so bad,
yeah,
or if it's just a good enough split for everybody, let's talk turkey. If I can get a 6th-round draft pick for a guy, I'll get a 6th-round draft pick for a guy. He is under contract. Is he or is he not under a contract for at least another 2 more years? Wasn't it a 4-year extension of what they said? I don't know the money, but he's under contract. If he's under contract, then I'll go ahead and I'll try to get myself a pick. If you really want him that bad.
Obviously, people are telling Albert in the league that, Stfansky, people would give him a shot. Now, that could just be an interview. I don't know. Is anybody trading for him and guaranteeing him that he's the guy? He's the guy that we are missing because obviously the evidence week in and week out. Sometimes I think we talk a little black and white, too much black and white when it comes to good coach, bad coach. That's kind of silly to me because these coaches have their faults and they have things they do really well. We've gone through to death talking about Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, and he makes mind-numbingly bad decisions week in and week out, but I think he's a really good coach. Well, how can that be? You're either a good coach or a bad coach. Well, no. The reality is that's not that. There are guys who we believe that about, like Kyle Shanahan and McVay and Sean Payton and Andy Reid, because they've proven it over time. In 6 years here, Stfansky has, in 2 years, really, I thought, overachieved, and they went to the playoffs in those years. Then there were other years where I thought he underachieved. And then whatever the last 2 years are where they weren't necessarily, they didn't have a quarterback in either of these years that was ready to go and could play contending NFL football. But he definitely didn't overachieve these 2 years. And so I'm sitting here going, yeah, if another team covets him that much, fine. It's probably time to start fresh here in Cleveland. And I can't imagine Jimmy Haslam thinking all that differently. Even though I know that he doesn't want to make changes. He doesn't want to have to get a new GM or a new head coach. But sometimes it's just necessary. And I kind of feel, Ken, in this situation, like, yeah, if there's another team that wants him, by all means, let's start the search. Let's go out and see what else there is to offer. Let's get the firms involved. Let's give Jim Schwartz at least an interview.
The conversation has changed. It is no longer, to me, whether you reconsider Kevin Stefanski's future because there may be teams that are interested. I think fans are way beyond that.
Well, that's not why. I don't really care.
I know you're not saying that.
I don't
but
care. If
I want to make
teams
sure
want Kevin Stefanski, that doesn't make me go, oh, shoot, should we really think twice? Sometimes it's just this thing has gotten stale. I think maybe he might need to go back to the drawing board, which some of these coaches do. Sean Payton's talked about that, being away from football for a year. And maybe the game kind of passes you by. It's been 6 years, and the league changes dramatically every 2 to 3 years. And what we're seeing on the field now with the way defenses are constructed is not what Stefanski came into the league. Look at Shanahan's running completely different stuff than he did 3 years ago. This stuff, maybe sometimes you're forced to reevaluate. And as an offensive mind, I bet he could do that. He's smart enough where I bet maybe time away from these guys, this situation, might help Kevin Stefanski anyway. Of course, if he's getting traded for and go right back into the pressure cooker with another team, maybe he's not really going to have that opportunity.
Well, that's the whole point of it. I don't know how much better the Giants situation is than ours. I mean, I know they got Jackson Dart, and a lot of people are excited about them, but they've had other guys they've been excited about before and talked themselves into. Depending on what it is, I don't think Shidor Sanders is going to be through the woods by the end of this year, but I don't really think a lot of rookies are through the woods at the end of this year. I think we've seen bona fide evidence of guys kind of coming back down to earth in year two. So even if you're going, we're getting Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, and that guy goes off and has a really nice rookie year, we have evidence here after a guy with a rookie year ended up being very good that things got really difficult on him in year two. So I'm not going to.
Shane Daniels' second year. C.J. Stroud's second year.
Guys, I'm as excitable as it gets, but I'm going to have to hold back a little bit at some point there. I mean, there will always be Monday reactions, and then by Wednesday it's going, okay, let's see where this thing goes. But I again, the conversation I think has changed so much between whether or not you want to hold on to him, whether or not it should be a conversation of are we making the right decision here when we say he needs to be let go, or is it more that should we hold on to him and see if we can get a pick? Should we hold on? Because the conversation happens every week. If there's that much smoke, you're telling me there's zero fire? They ask Albert every week. And this week, when I'm hearing Albert, hemming and hawing, of course, we didn't have that clip. When we hear Albert hemming and hawing at the very beginning, I'm going, what's he know? What's he know? What do you know, Mr. Breer? And who's telling you things? Is it from inside the building? I can't imagine it's him himself. I don't know if he'd ever just come right out and say it to an insider. Is it an agent? Who is it? Who is it? Are you hearing it from other buildings that they'd like a crack at him, that they think that the Browns are a mess and they think that they're wasting a good coach? Is that it?
Well, I imagine Kevin and his agent, they are looking at the situation going, yeah, coaches get fired in these situations.
Yeah.
They get fired whether or not you have a good reputation around the league or not. In this situation here, might have run its course. So he's got to start to think about what next year is. He's got a family. They're probably wondering, hey, do we have to get new doctors? Do we have to get a new school situation? Where are we going to be next year? All of that is kind of normal stuff if you're in that league towards the end of the season. Because think about how quickly this stuff starts.
216-474-0092. I got a couple of people who want to get on this. I'll get to you guys. And we've had one great game with Shidor, and it was a great game. We're already having fights on who gets credit for him. Ken Carman, Anthony Lyman. Take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app, where you can hear Around the AFC North at 8 o'clock with Haney, Egger, and Donnie Football from Pittsburgh at 93.7 The Fan. This is 92.3 The Fan. Watch us for free on YouTube. Peter and Company Jewelers.
Northeast Ohio Fence and Deck.
The best fences for the best property, and you're in luck with Northeast Ohio Fence and Deck. Hey friends, Ken Carmen here for NEOFence.com. Aluminum, vinyl, custom wood, chain link fence, and so much more with a 5-year labor warranty on all new installs. NEOFence.com.
Listen to 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
One great game. People are fighting for credit already. I love it. I absolutely love it. More on that coming up in just a moment here. Yeah, by the way, you can win 2-second trivia and a 4-pack of Mr. Hero combo meals coming up at 7:45. Nothing eats like Mr. Hero, my friends. Go on out there and get it. Get it. But you got to win 2-second trivia coming up at 7:45. You know how that works. You got to get 2 questions right within 2 seconds each. You get them right, we end up moving on with the show. You end up beating free Mr. Hero. That's the way it goes. 216-474-0092. The audio of Albert Breer and asking, is Kevin kind of looking for a parachute out? That question's been asked over the last few weeks because it keeps getting brought up. Things keep getting brought up. The Saturday little news drops and things like that. Like, when there's a possibility, then these things kind of, they tend to get leaked. They tend to go in a different way. Like, Kevin Stfansky, Albert Breer was asked about this yesterday. I want to play this one more time, and I want you to listen to the very beginning. We got this right now. The very beginning of Albert Breer's answer here. Go ahead.
Do you feel like Stfansky would prefer a clean slate, a fresh start somewhere else?
That's a tricky question. I think I think he likes the people that he works with. This is just my opinion. I think he likes working with the Haslams. I think he's got a good working relationship with them. I think, obviously he and Andrew Berry have a good rapport. I just think so much has happened in the last 6 years. I think it is fair to ask that question. Is this the right mix to go forward with based on the history that everybody has together? You went through the Baker thing together, which clearly Baker would have been a better answer at quarterback. You wind up making the trade for Deshaun Watson. Clearly that was a mistake. And you had this core of players that I think was very clearly a playoff caliber core. And because of the mess at quarterback, the chance that core of players had of really competing at the highest level was completely undermined, right? So that's your history right now. So how do you come out of that? That doesn't mean the people can't work together or there aren't good people. But I think when that's your history, your working history with someone, it can be a little bit difficult to come out of that. So I think that's something that everybody's going to have to evaluate at the end of the year.
It's not a tricky question. How many coaches have you ever heard not be a foxhole guy? At least they act like a foxhole guy. We're going to fix this. Damn it, this is what we signed up for. Jim Fossil, I'm pushing the chips to the center of the table. We're going to the playoffs. They've always, and when I'm hearing Albert Breer, and I'm not saying he's speaking totally for Kevin Stfansky here, but he's talking to people here because this keeps going on over the last couple of weeks. And when he says, that's a tricky question. No, it's not. When you say it's a tricky question to answer, it means more than likely, yeah. Means more than likely, yeah. And if I'm the owner of the Browns, maybe I've made some mistakes. If it's Kenny Haslam owns the Browns, like you like to call me, I've probably made some mistakes here and there. And I'd like to work through it. But if you don't want to be here anymore, well, I'm not just going to let you go. If there's teams that really want you bad, quarterbacks are currency. Why can't a head coach be currency? I don't know what you're going to get in return. He's won 6 games in the last 2 years, and he's probably only going to win 6 games within the last 2 years. So you might not get very much, if anything at all. But if the Giants want you so damn bad, and I keep hearing about Giants, either him or Marcus Freeman, guys that already have jobs technically, okay, let's talk turkey here. Because Notre Dame can't get a draft pick. I might be able to get a draft pick. Let's talk about this.
Don't you kind of, also, I think we're on the same page on this.
Thank you.
If you were Kevin Stefanski, and you had an opportunity to go elsewhere and have a clean break, wouldn't you want to?
Yeah.
The only way I could see it, the only way I could see it being differently is if the Shidor experience here at the end of the year would make it where he's like, oh no, I can win here. He's good enough that I can win here. But obviously the fact that he was buried on the depth chart all year, and it took Dylan Gabriel and the concussion to get Shidor out there. Mm-hmm. What did we think? What were the preconceived notions about Shidor to begin with? So now you can always play your way out of any of those. Like all the stuff, it's kind of funny. We have dwelled so much on the reps and the operations and what it's like in the quarterback room. In reality, once you get on the field, none of that stuff matters.
Nope.
Like once you show that you can play a little bit, none of that really matters. Like we're going to be done talking about any of that stuff once we get into the offseason and we've either decided to move on from Stfansky or not. I don't think we're going to be talking as much about that at all. We're going to have all these games to actually break down and to see whether or not his progression is linear, whether he makes jumps, whether he goes backwards a little bit, as quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks tend to do. They go up and down and whatever. So that to me is what's going to be most interesting, because right now I think what would probably make the most sense is that we will probably want to move on from Kevin. Kevin will probably want to move on from this situation.
Yeah, more than likely. 216-474-0092. Now, there is an interesting question where Shidor threw for 364, 3 touchdowns, ran for 1, had that interception, but he was still fantastic. And he's one of the finalists for AFC Offensive Player Rookie of the Week, with him and Harold Fannin Jr. both up there. Let me ask you this, because they had it out a little bit in afternoon.
Oh, crap,
drive.
though. It was in a loss.
Well, yeah.
Well, we talked about that with Myles Garrett, right?
Yeah.
Myles was not getting Player of the Weeks because they were losing.
Yeah. So, but he got Player of the Month, even though he wasn't getting Player of the Week.
I know.
Maybe they forgot about him.
He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year on a 3 or 4 win football team.
Maybe we just take the performances for granted. I don't know. People were getting upset because apparently he's got to stop everybody, including the run. There's no way that we can. That Myles Garrett is never going to escape criticism by some, apparently. So let me ask you this, though. He went through for 364. He's had a good game. They asked the question. We don't need to play it, but they asked the question yesterday: who gets credit for Shidor Sanders? I think it's credit if Shidor Sanders does well. Who do you give credit to if Shidor Sanders does well? Because it gets murky. Do you give credit to
Shidor,
the general manager? Well, damn it, you took my answer away from me.
I'm sorry.
Now pretend like you didn't hear that and ask the question.
Well, that's the end of the show. Thank you very much. Have a great morning, everybody.
Well, I will say this, though. Like, the Browns might have botched the evaluation. It's still very early in the Shidor experience, but clearly he looks way better than Dylan Gabriel. They might have botched the evaluation. They might have prioritized things that may not have mattered, in the end. Whatever. It's pretty clear it's playing out that they made a mistake. With all that said, they might be doing a good job developing him. They might be behind the scenes. They might be decent at that. I know the track record is very murky. Like, we've gone through each and every quarterback, and we've had tons of calls week in and week out that Kevin Stefanski's not good at developing quarterbacks. Whatever, but we've seen sometimes they've had some successes. Like, I thought Jacoby Brissett played some pretty good football here.
So do you believe that they're handling him well?
I think now that he's getting the reps, and they might have found a balance between their coaching and his playing that might make sense. That might actually lend themselves to getting some credit, whether it's Tommy, whether it's Kevin, whatever. But he was in a rhythm with Harold Fannin this weekend. Again, I'm giving Shidor the most credit, but might there be some development going on?
I got to disagree. Can I tell you why it's 7:01? Fine. That at 7:01 and 2-second trivia at 7:45. You want to eat some free Mr. Hero? We got it for you, but you got to win 2-second trivia at 7:45 on the Fan.
Anthony Lima 4.
Shidor Sanders and Deshaun Watson quarterback battle, man, I don't know. Because there's a lot of Browns fans who seem to believe.
I have not gone into the Cleveland radio, and I love doing that from time to time. It's been a while since I've done. Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, Ken Carmen and Anthony Lima. That's the show that I rock with. They do a nice show in the mornings. Carmen could go insane sometimes. Lima tries to rein him in. But yeah, it's fun. Those are the markets, like cold weather markets with passionate, beaten down sports fans.
That's Danny Parkins and Bomani Jones.
So did you find it interesting? Normally, people have said, Ken, you got to rein in Lima.
No.
You got to rein him in. And now it's being said that I'm reining you in.
Audio courtesy of The Right Time with Bomani Jones. No, you see, Danny sees it from a different point of view. Danny sees it from the 30,000-foot view. So if you and I talk to primarily Browns fans. So if you and I are talking about the Browns, okay, fine. The Cleveland fans. If you and I are talking about Cleveland, I think a guy from outside is like, oh, yeah, Lima's got to rein him in. Because you and him are probably cut. You guys both went to Syracuse, but you guys are both cut from the same cloth. Very rarely do you raise your voice. I think very rarely does Danny raise his voice. I've listened to Danny for a number of years. Danny's not a voice raiser.
That's true.
I don't try to raise my voice. It just happens. I'm a naturally loud person. You push me to the brink. But in Cleveland, when we're talking to Clevelanders, like, what's Lima talking about? Lima's nuts. What's he saying? And so, yeah, here I get told to rein you in. But from their perspective, from Danny's perspective,
they think you're the nuts one.
Yeah, they think I'm crazy.
That probably is true.
It probably is true. So now I know what the great triumvirate of reputation with him. Pony doesn't count. With him and Nick Wright, and to a degree, Pony, think of how I talk to you. So there you go.
I think Jason Whitlock said it best.
The chubby guy on the right is just scared to death. The other guy's keeping it 100% real, man.
And again, Jason Whitlock was 100% correct. I ain't going to take no shots at Jason Whitlock, because when you said what you said, and I had no idea what you were referencing, I just saw my career flash before my eyes. And so, yes, Jason Whitlock on his show called Fearless, yes, I was very fearful. I hope that gets back to him, because, sir, you were correct on that one. Coming up at 7:45, your chance to win a 4-pack of Mr. Hero combo meals. You got to get 2-second trivia correct. I ain't taking no Tom and Akron calls. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is a serious prize to give away. When you're talking about mowing down Roman burgers, that's serious business. I wanted to answer this question before we get to the credit thing, because there's another thing with Bomani Jones here in his podcast here. I disagreed with you. You said about Shidor's handling. You said, well, in the grand scheme of things, Shidor did get handled correctly. See, I don't think so. Because I don't think you should have started.
I didn't say that. Look, they have botched a lot of this process. But all I was saying, Kenny, I'm sorry to cut you off. All I'm saying is, I want to be clear here, that Shidor gets the credit. I'm giving Shidor the most amount of credit, but is it unreasonable to suggest that maybe now that he's getting the starting reps, that there could be some development now, and that there could be some shared credit there, like the coaches might be doing the right things now? Just because they've been wrong to this point does not mean every day they're flailing away and Shidor is just like, I got this, guys.
No.
Like they might be doing some good coaching now.
But I think it's reasonable. I don't think it's reasonable to say you should have started from like week 1 or anything like that. That probably was a bad spot for everybody involved. But now I think we look back at it and go, I'm sorry, Dylan Gabriel. You just happen to be the guy that they took in front of him. I'm sure you're a nice guy. But now I just got to say it. Does it or does it not feel like, you said it yesterday, it was a year of evaluation. Does it or does it not feel like it was a complete waste of time?
To this point,
but
fine. If Shidor finishes strong, and we said this is a legitimate evaluation.
If Shidor finishes strong, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to wonder what would have happened had he started instead of Dylan Gabriel, because that would have been even more games. There would have been even more chances. And we had Mary Kay Cabot on the station yesterday saying, regardless, she would probably take a quarterback at the top of the draft. And guess who agrees with her? Breer. That means guess who agrees with her? A lot of other insiders, which means guess who agree with them? The rest of the NFL. And guess who the rest of the NFL is? When Kevin Stfansky and Andrew Berry get fired, the guys who are going to be running your football team.
Man, I don't know.
Okay.
I wonder.
All right.
I wonder if he makes it through that initial slate. Remember, all we did was talk about how hard the games were at the beginning of the year. Shidor got the easiest part of the schedule. He got the Raiders. He got what was left of the 49er defense. He got
to play
the Tennessee. He got Tennessee. No, I'm saying, but the beginning of the year, it was, on paper, it was Joe Burrow and the Bengals. It was Lamar and the Ravens. It was the Packers when we thought they were the best team in the league. It was the Lions who were supposed to compete for a Super Bowl. Like, that was kind of brutal. If Shidor would have started week 1, especially when the Browns didn't even think
I didn't want him to start week 1.
No, I know. But remember, there are fans that said, well, you threw away the season not starting Shidor week 1. And I'm like, I don't know that would have worked out for anybody.
Well, don't argue with them. Argue with me on this. Because I'm looking at it when Dylan Gabriel started. And I go, okay, if he would have started against the Minnesota Vikings in London, then against Pittsburgh, then against Miami, then against New England, I don't know how well they would have done against New England. I don't know how well he would have done against New England. But I do think that he actually seems to be better equipped to get past a bad game than what you would have with Dylan Gabriel.
Agreed.
Because that was one of the big things. And talking to Coach Lance about it, this was before a high school game, for crying out loud. He's like, I want to see him against the Jets. I want to see how he responds to playing poorly. And guess what? He still went out there and didn't look very good after that. So if he would have started then, I'm not talking about saving the season. It is what it is. You'd probably be still a sub 500 team for a multitude of reasons. But let me tell you this. I think that you give more games and you have more of a sampling, and any more of a sampling does paint a picture of what you're going to do in 2026. Because all you guys want to get mad at me for saying draft a quarterback, draft a quarterback, draft a quarterback, draft a quarterback. I'm just telling you what I think they're going to do. That's why I think it's important for him to win. But we went through that a million times and people still didn't get it yesterday. Even if you don't want a quarterback next year, guys, it's in your best interest for him to help you win. But we'll talk about that another time. That's my issue. It wouldn't have been week 1. It wouldn't have been instead of Joe Flacco. Hell, it probably wouldn't even have been in for Kenny Pickett. Because even if they take a guy at the top of the draft, maybe I'd rather have a veteran there. Maybe I'd rather go with what Albert Breer had said yesterday, where you're probably going to get another veteran who's not even on this team right now. Maybe I'd rather do that. We'll see how I feel in the offseason. But I think it stands within reason. And again, nothing to beat up Dylan Gabriel on. You just happen to be the guy they took ahead of you. They could have taken Anthony Lima. They could have taken Mason Lima, all I know. I probably would have made the same argument had they turned in the same performance. It feels to a Browns fan that if you're going to have a season, it's got to stand for something. And I think a lot of Browns fans feel, hey, even if Shidor ends up sucking up the room, maybe we'll know. Maybe that'll be the end. But if he goes and he plays relatively well, like he did on Sunday, played well on Sunday, but if he even plays relatively well over the last few games of the year, we're going to wonder, had he got a little bit of time, could this have changed the future of our franchise to any certain degree? And I feel like they feel that their time is wasted.
Yeah, I will say, though, they will have had to get to if we're talking about if they would have played the right quarterbacks at the right time, it still looks like you would have had double-digit wins was what it took to get into the playoffs. And they weren't doing that. But
I'm not
I'm sorry, guys.
Again, Anthony.
They just weren't flat out doing that.
But I said even in that soliloquy there, and maybe I talked too long because you didn't hear it, I'm not talking playoffs. I'm talking about not wasting our time, not grinding our gears over guys that are not going to be here anyway. I think that's what a Browns fan's fighting now. Do you not? I mean, you can say what you want to about Shidor Sanders. Don't you feel like your time's not being... Maybe I got it wrong. 216-474-0092. Do you feel like your time is being wasted with Shidor Sanders at all?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Did you feel that your time was being wasted
There was absolutely a stretch of the schedule where I did.
Thank you. That's all I'm trying to point out.
But with that said, we were still able to evaluate the rookies. We were still able to see what we had in a lot of those younger guys. And we were able to see that, hey, your offensive line has reached a critical juncture where you're going to have to turn that over next year. And that still is going to be one of the when we start talking about next season, we're going to have one big asterisk by every conversation we have about the Browns.
And Ethan Posick being out for the year because he's set to become a free agent at the end of this year, or there's a possible free agency.
When we talk over-unders, win totals, whether it's Shidor or Mendoza or anyone else, it's always going to be, man, this offensive line going into the season is going to be one of the worst in football. So good luck with that.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
You can upgrade the wide receiver room.
Now,
that's great.
If
your line can't block, it's going to be hard. Look at Patrick Mahomes, the struggles he has had behind a rough offensive line the last 2 years.
That's right. Now, I'm not trying to just throw Shidor out there and quote-unquote throw him to the wolves, but this was a year that if we could have got evaluation out of it, it would have been so much better. And a lot of myself, and maybe I'm not talking for the majority of people.
Who do you think we haven't been able to evaluate, though? That is what I will say. Like, are you talking the coach?
I don't think we're going to get. No, I don't think we're going to get enough time to. I don't think
Judkins.
For the people who don't want a new quarterback next year, and for the people who just want to keep Shidor and love Shidor, or they just think they want to see more of him, I don't think you're going to get a proper amount of time. You are going to have people come in here with preconceived notions. Listen to, you could say Albert's lying and you could hate Albert all you want. He is speaking for people in the NFL. You could say what you want to about Mary Kay. She's speaking for people in the building and in the NFL. All these people still say, yeah, you're still going to take a guy. Because even when you do make that change and Kevin isn't here anymore and probably Andrew isn't here anymore, they're going to come in here and they're going to say, yeah, fine, not good enough. Unless he is just amazing in these next 4 games. There's not enough time. And so you have to hope. That's why I said the win thing. I'll go back to it. If you take the decision out of their hands where they don't want to trade up too much to go up and leapfrog some of these teams, but you look at NFL.com, of the top 5 picking teams right now, they have the second toughest strength of schedule. So that means they're probably going to lose. That means they probably might have a top 2 pick. And if they have a top 2 pick and someone new comes in here, yeah, man, going to be tough. And it's going to be even tougher on the young man because he's still going to have now, there's no Ethan Posick, so you're going to have Luke Whippler in front of him. I don't know what Jack Conklin's status is. I don't know what Wyatt Teller's status is. So you're in a tough spot here when it comes to evaluation. So for a Browns fan or for just a Shidor fan who's clocking in, yeah, you know what? Probably would have rather seen him against Minnesota instead of Dylan Gabriel. This guy has a higher ceiling. The other guy, he'll make a nice career backup. He is what he is now. I would have rather seen a guy with a higher ceiling, so we know. If we're all chasing the great hype that is a quarterback, then who were we watching? I'm just trying not to waste our time, man. I'm not trying to be a crazy person here. You get what I'm saying. Like, you're not thinking I'm crazy when I say this. You're not fighting me.
But I do think while, like, fans, there were an element of the fans that were checked out. I was one of them during part of the Dylan Gabriel experience. I'm in now. Like, Shidor's earned that much. I'm definitely in now for the rest of the season.
216-474-0092. Do you feel like you're wasted your time with Shidor Sanders? I think that this is the best part of, most exciting part of evaluation that we've got to have all season. We're 3-10. I want to get to you guys on that. And we made this mistake with Baker. How can we avoid it with Shidor Sanders? All that and whether or not it was a thong or a jock strap. They answer the question themselves coming up in 5 on the Fan.
It's Anthony.
Guardians making any kind of moves to the baseball winter meetings. However, there is news about the Guardians and the World Baseball Classic. Catcher Bo Naylor is going to play for Team Canada, and infielder Travis Bazzana will play for Team Australia. On the ice last night, Cleveland Monsters win in Charlotte 3-1. Monsters now won 3 straight. Don't miss the Browns preview show tonight, 7 o'clock right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
I'll make this mention. Maybe it'll come up here in about 20 minutes. Getting a lot of comments on my gray hair on the Christmas cards. That and the messaging on the back.
Okay, I did not.
Let's not get into it.
I'm bummed.
Don't get into it.
There's 2 sides to the damn card. I only saw one side.
At least you got one. I don't think I got one.
Yes, you did.
I don't have one in my house.
Okay, either you or your ex-wife got it. You could sue her for custody of the Christmas card.
We're splitting it. It's at my house Tuesdays and Thursdays.
You also, if you play your cards right, get to pick up my Christmas card from football practice. So, you know.
That's right.
Okay.
We have visitation.
Yeah, but I'm getting a lot of comments. I'm like, should I? Because in the summertime, the sun just bakes into it. And I'm like, I'm golden boy, Kenny Carmen. But then now it's like, oh boy. And people are going, man, you got gray. I go, yeah, dude. Yeah. I am fatter, less Levine. Much fatter. I guarantee it. I'll be 40 next year.
Today?
45. I'm going to be it'll be totally gray. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't mean to say fatter, less Levine like Les was fat, but
no.
All right. Do you feel like you are having? I think there was an amount of time, and I think the Shidor fans, the anti-Shidor fans, I think all fans can agree on this. You don't feel like your time's wasted with Shidor Sanders, unless you're just over the Browns so much and you're embittered by the Browns so much. But I think anybody who's looking for anything, that's the difference. Like you felt like your time was wasted with the other guy, and I feel bad. You know, Albert Breer said yesterday maybe that the Dolphins were going to do, and I was listening to that again this morning on the drive in, and I'm like, man, I wish the Dolphins would have just drafted him. I really do, because there is a part where I kind of do feel bad. I mean, we're dissecting things that I don't like talking about significant others on the radio. We're dissecting things she posted on her TikTok or Instagram or whatever. That got brought up last week, all the other stuff. I'm like, man, it would have been so much better had he had just been taken by the fish, and we would have just waited and then drafted Shidor, and we could have a great big thing about him and Kenny Pickett. And
there's nothing personal when it comes to Dylan Gabriel. We've I think almost the entire city has just assumed that Shidor was better from the get-go.
Yeah.
Whether or not you were at training camp,
yes.
We just assumed.
Yes.
Dylan seems like a very likable guy, and he lost his job because of bad play and a concussion.
Yes.
It sucks. It's the NFL.
And this
is not a fair league.
But he's a nice enough guy, but I also know that there's plenty of nice guys who should not be playing on the field. There's the NFL's littered with nice guys who don't play anymore. And he should not have been ahead of Shidor Sanders if this was the way it was going to be. He help us? He won one game. So far, Shidor has won one game. So I could look at it in a bunch of different ways and go, yeah, we could have been at the same juncture at 3-10 and at least would have known. Yeah.
So they barely lost to the Vikings, right? That was Dylan's first start. And the Jets game, they lost by 7. But probably should have won that game, right? If he wins those 2 games, has the concussion, is he still the starting quarterback?
Maybe.
League's not fair.
Because to win those games, you probably would have had to mount some sort of comeback and drive the ball down the field, and you weren't able to do it in any of them. Like this guy,
5.5 games of it.
They lost to Tennessee. Tennessee's bad. Guess what? You're bad too. This guy went down the field. And Ken, you're hanging on. Oh, come on, Ken. They're bad. Yeah, I am hanging on to something because we are in evaluation mode. And I got to evaluate one guy in a 2-minute offense, go down the field, give us a chance. I got another guy who never did. Evaluation. Might be simple, but it's true. 216-474-0092. Let me get to Tony in Cleveland. Hello, Tony.
Hey, I don't think the Browns need a quarterback in the draft because...
It's not what I'm asking.
They draft.
Do you feel your time has been wasted with Shidor Sanders?
I don't think it was wasted with him. You see progress. You see improvement game after game. You're able to get the ball down the field. Dylan Gabriel, you couldn't do that because he's a short quarterback and he doesn't have any advantages like speed or a strong arm. They just say he has a computer processor brain, which we haven't seen yet. So
maybe when we do his autopsy way after he passes away.
I mean,
maybe then we'll see that brain.
Good God.
On the football field, we haven't exactly seen it yet, unfortunately.
But I want to give you two names that the Browns need to go after in the draft is Nick Harbor, Carnell Tate. You need those guys to stretch the field on defense with offenses on the field.
Can you call in? Tony, thank you very much for the call. Just do this. And listen, I'm going to laugh. Just do this in January.
Yeah.
After we find the new coach and everything, just do that in January. All right, I want to play this other Bomani Jones clip. This is from the I want to make sure I get it right. The right time with Bomani Jones. Where, Lima, you wanted to play this. I'm going to let you take it away after we play this. Bomani Jones. It claims that Shidor Sanders being, quote, set up by the Cleveland Browns.
I see a screen grab of this. The Cleveland Browns are trying to set Shidor Sanders up by letting him start the remaining games of the season, with their next games being the Bears, the Bills, Steelers, Bengals.
Set him up to fail or to succeed?
When he wasn't playing, it was a setup. This list of games that you talk about, the Bengals, they got to make a wish foundation on defense, and that's the end of the season. The Steelers, I don't know. The Bills don't have some great defense. And the Bears, you know better than I do.
They lead the league in takeaways, but they've been in multiple shootouts. They're not a great defense.
I hear people say things that are so far in either direction when it comes down to him. Honestly, I don't see that many people who are that hard on Shidor in public anymore. I see far more people who think that anything that isn't going exactly his direction is some kind of setup to hold him down.
And that was Bomani on the right time of Bomani Jones along with Danny Parkins. So this is the one thing, and this is what I've been saying, has annoyed me about any of the Shidor conversations, because he is so damn likable. I love the press conferences. I think he does such a great job. He is very savvy in those spots. And he's now attempting to make the most of his opportunity. There are no opportunities guaranteed to anybody in this league. Especially fifth-round picks, man. Fifth-round picks rarely get opportunities, like good opportunities.
Yeah.
This has turned into a great opportunity for him, and he is already starting to take advantage. So why is it that people want to make him the victim no matter what?
Clicks.
What is it?
Clicks.
The people in our YouTube chat? What are they getting clicks? Like the people that are coming after me and others on social media?
Are you talking about you and me or Bomani?
Everybody. And assuming that we
what I don't like is that
are just out for him.
The only thing I don't like is that there's a lot of people who I think that just think I've never liked Shidor Sanders, and I'm like, no, I've always liked Shidor Sanders, and I've loved his father.
Loved his dad. We had podcasts 2 years ago talking about how awesome what was going on in Boulder was, and how this is an amazing, amazing story.
But
we broke down the 60 Minutes feature that Dion was in, and we loved it. We loved the attention that he was getting. People have lumped us in with like every white host in America.
Well, I'm a fat, slow guy who's raised by fat, slow people, and so I think a lot of people just assume I didn't like Dion growing up, and I don't like Shidor. It couldn't be further from the truth. I've obviously adored Deion Sanders, and I like Shidor. And I said all this yesterday, and it was posted right at the end of the show yesterday, and there were a lot of people who agreed, and a lot of people who just was like, Ken's holding on to anything he can. Oh, yeah, I am a desperate man. But I said what I said. I don't think Bomani's responding to YouTube chats. I don't think Bomani's responding to maybe some bots on Twitter or some anonymous folks on. I think he's going through, and he's got producers, and there's plenty of podcasts out there and plenty of YouTube channels out there that are just saying the same thing. And I don't think that, and I've been saying this from day one, the Browns are not out to get Shidor Sanders or to sabotage Shidor Sanders. There's going to be people that I will just not reach, and they will never believe that. They believe in conspiracy and ghost stories, and it's not going to happen. They're not out to get him, and they're not out to put the screws to him. The Cleveland Browns have put the screws to plenty of players just by being the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
What did we talk about for the last 20 minutes about who should have played before who? Dylan Gabriel, Shidor Sanders. And I've just told everybody how this whole thing could very well play out because I have experience, and you have experience with this whole thing playing out the way it is. Because of that, could they put the screws to Shidor because of that? Absolutely they could. but they're not doing it on purpose. They're doing it with how they think it's the best way possible.
And we know in this league, even with the Browns, as evidenced by Baker Mayfield joining a team that was 1-31 right before he got there, that in this league, anybody can overcome all of the incompetence and all the worst laid plans and all the bad strategies and all of the dysfunction. Baker overcame it to start out and then was a little bit a part of the mess at the end, but he overcame it. But Jaden Daniels in Washington last year was able to overcome all of that. The list goes on. CJ Stroud in Houston was able to overcome all that nonsense in the front office. So it can happen. This league is not, I don't know where people thought that this league was some perfect meritocracy. Sometimes you walk into an unfair situation, but you have the chance to prove people wrong and to prove the haters wrong, and you have the chance to overcome dysfunction, and it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, and it's not. And when Shidor takes the field in those sub-zero temperatures this week with a revolving door on the offensive line and one of the worst wide receiving rooms, if not the worst in the NFL, he'll have to overcome that stuff. But you know what? I got some evidence that he might be able to pull this off. So how cool is that? Let's celebrate that. Let's not get bogged down in trying to make Shidor Sanders, of all people, Deion's kid, a victim every day, because you sound silly.
Well, I think what Bomani Jones hears is it's also you have people that I think have kind of went away from honesty, and then that gets lumped in with people that you know. I hear a lot of Shannon Sharp. I heard a lot of Shannon Sharp. I watched the podcast where he sits down in the fireside and has the drinks.
We watched.
What a great description! Huh?
We texted each other over the Cat Williams thing in real time while we were watching that.
When I think he's actually responding, he probably heard Shannon Sharp say about the final 4 games. And we were getting a lot of forwards of that yesterday. We didn't play it yesterday because there were a lot of people during the show who were going, "Hey, he's being sarcastic." That's sarcasm from Shannon Sharp. I think so many crazy things have been said, nobody knows the truth.
People believe it. That people believe anything that's said.
So even if I say something in sarcasm, I got to be careful because there's been so many crazy things that have been said, either A, where people really believe that, or B, they're just trying to get your money, get your clicks, get your subscriptions, and that's it, feeding the beast of what they want to hear. But what I want to hear is about how well he's doing. He's doing very well. I want to hear the challenges that he has. There's still going to be challenges ahead. There's still going to be more things on tape that he has to go over. I really think, and this is, I know, a terrible thing to admit, I thought Kevin Stfansky was great talking about the footwork of Shidor Sanders, because there was a lot of conversation about Shidor in the game against San Francisco where the feet and the platform weren't exactly where they needed to be and where he might have missed Jerry Jeudy. And then what happens on Sunday? You heard Lance Riesland talk about it. He had put out a great video. Feet were there, drop back was there, perfect posture, perfect platform, boom, Jerry Jeudy 60 yards and a touchdown. That's what we're talking about here. The feet guide the eyes. But is me saying that the feet guide the eyes, or Coach Lance saying that the feet guide the eyes, is going to be as good as Kevin Stfansky doesn't like Shidor Sanders and doesn't want him to play, and when he does play, he's going to put him out there and put the boots to him the best way? No, that ain't going to.
You're right. You're right. And you know what? The Shidor fans, why don't you pass around Coach Lance? Why don't you pass around that clip?
I think
Are you guys not having fun with that clip where somebody actually says good things about Shidor? Are you actively looking for the bad things? Is this like the people with Fox News and MSNBC that want to take the other party's worst and make that the whole party and fall for that stuff? Because that's what this has become. It's become like politics, where it's almost like you guys can't even accept when somebody says 9 good things about Shidor and one little criticism.
Can I just say this, though? I do think there's a lot of fans out there, and I think that a lot of them will agree, who are dropping in on us from Frisco, Texas, or the calls from Florida that we've got, or the calls from California that we got, Colorado that we got. I think a lot of them want to believe it because they don't want him here. These people know the Browns for one thing over the last 25 years. That's losing. And they don't want their favorite quarterback, the kid they love, playing for this football team. That's another thing. So there is self-fulfillment there. That the Browns are handling this wrong. Well, how could the Browns handle it right? Look at everything they've handled wrong in so many years. Even if they're not doing it on purpose, they're still going to do it by accident. And that's something that I'm willing to say because they've done it by accident plenty of times. Before we were on the air, after we're on the air, everything. There's been plenty of times they've messed it up. So there's definitely a lot of fans who don't want him here. And so the quicker this is over and he can go to a franchise that they trust, the better it's going to be for them. Now, I look at it and I say, I don't like that he played after Dylan Gabriel because I don't think that we got very much of anything in any enjoyment out of that experience. And Dylan didn't get it either. This, I'm getting some enjoyment. This, I'm getting some real conversation. This, I'm getting something that could actually change the future. This is worthwhile. And I would like to see more of it, and I wish we would have got to see it sooner. Because if he continues to play this way over the next 4 games, I know what everybody's still saying around the league. But damn it, we got ourselves a real conversation here to have. And even if you're one of the people like, yeah, I'm not really crazy about Shidor, but I damn sure don't want any of these quarterbacks coming up here in this draft, might be the best of both worlds. Even if he goes out there, you hope he does well next year. But even if he doesn't do well, maybe you've set up the foundation for success over a quarterback you really like.
But you know what?
Maybe that's a possibility too.
Last year, Drake May probably should have started week 1 for the Patriots. He didn't. We didn't have Drake May is the victim conversations every day. And you know what? That looks stupid.
I thought
that that coach got fired. That coach got fired, and maybe that happens here.
I actually thought he was a bit of a victim there by that, but I also thought that Mac Jones was a victim by them putting Matt Patricia in charge of the offense there. So
sure, but you know what? Guys can overcome
my
it.
personal thoughts.
Guys can overcome. Mac Jones is going to have a chance to be a starting quarterback next year somewhere, and Drake May is the potential MVP, and they are tied for the 1 seed right now in the AFC. So I don't think Drake May is walking around every day going, "Why wasn't I the starter last year, week 1?" He might think it. He might have been enraged by it. But in the end, it's worked out. Maybe, just maybe, this Shidor stuff can work out here in Cleveland.
It is your chance. Clear the lines. Get them in. 216-474-0092. It is your chance to win 2-second trivia. Your chance to eat some beautiful Mr. Hero. You can do it. All you have to do is get 2 questions right in 2 seconds each. 2-second trivia, your chance to win a 4-pack of Mr. Hero combo meals coming up in 5 minutes. 216-474-0092. 2-second trivia coming up in 5 on the Fan.
It's
Tampa Bay are 7-6 and share the NFC South lead with Carolina, but they're coming off a loss to the division rival Saints, and now face another. Join us for Atlanta at Tampa Bay on Thursday Night Football.
The radio home of the NFL in Cleveland. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. You have 2 seconds and only 2 seconds to win. This is 2-second trivia.
It is time for 2-second trivia and your chance to win a 4-pack of Mr. Hero combo meals. Mr. Hero introduces their new chicken tenders and chicken tender wraps. Choose between 6 different sensational sauces, including hot honey, buffalo, Kentucky bourbon, garlic parmesan, barbecue, and teriyaki. They're in-store or online. Order them today. Tone, are you ready?
Absolutely.
He is our host, Tone Lock, Tone Master General. And let's get going with it. First one up, Ethan in Akron. Ethan, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Real quick, I just want to say if any quarterback on the Browns roster is a victim, it's Bailey Zappi. All the Zappi zealots know that.
I
That's
like
true.
where his head's at.
He's not been given a fair chance.
Out of this jib.
He had looked good as a starting quarterback in minimal games.
We're not doing sports talk right now.
Sorry.
We're doing 2-second trivia. Ethan and Akron, home of the Bookville Griffins. Take it away.
All right, here we go. Name one of the 2 group of 5 teams to make the college football playoff.
James Madison.
Boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan is in the barn. Ethan, your chance to win a 4-pack of Mr. Hill Combo Meals. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do this, pal.
Lima.
Who has the most receiving touchdowns in the NFL this year with 14?
I think it's Kellen Winslow Jr.
Is it? Do I have to check? Because that's not the name I have written down.
Different league.
Oh. It's a good guess.
I thought for sure, Ethan's going to win this. We're going to have to figure out something to do.
Peter in Brunswick, home of the Blue Devils. Peter, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, boys.
Peter's ready. Lima, take it away.
All right, the aforementioned James Madison is in the playoff this year as a 12 seed. What is their nickname?
Duke.
Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Pumpkin Eater had a wife, couldn't keep her. Here's in the barn. Peter, are you ready?
Come on, I'm ready to eat some Mr. Hero, baby.
Lima, take it away.
Shidor. Now, if he would have gotten it right after he made that mistake, would you have given it to him?
We had to dump it.
You wouldn't have?
It didn't go out over the air.
Oh, there you go. That's a good little specification.
We have to have rules. You have to learn from the experience. Hey,
I'm throwing one in.
I make the Big Lebowski references around here. Okay, well, then I'm gonna let you have it when I start texting behind your back going, "Can make a Big Lebowski reference again? Is that the only movie you ever watches?" I know you complain about me behind my back.
Never. It's never
I know
happened.
everything you say. Keith tells me because he wants there to be dissension in the room. Where the hell is Pike Township? Mike, where's that at?
It's near Canton, home of the Glen Oak Golden Eagles.
That's Plain Township.
Yeah.
He wrote Pike Township. He's from Tuscarawas County. That's unacceptable.
Oh, man, you need a new intern, man.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Mike in Plain Township, home of the Glen Oak Golden Eagles. Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
Lima, take it away.
The aforementioned James Madison 12 seed Dukes. What state is that university in?
Virginia.
Yes! Wow!
And for the third straight time, we have somebody in the barn. It's Mike in Plain Township. Mike, are you ready for your chance to win 2-second trivia?
Yes, sir.
Lima, take it away.
Which national TV, radio, podcaster extraordinaire and flamethrower called Ken Carman chubby?
Sorry. Jacob in Geneva, home of the Eagles. Jacob, are you ready?
Good morning, Ken. Yes, I am.
Lima, take it away.
Where is Army-Navy being played this Saturday?
Massachusetts.
It is in the Eastern time zone, but no, you're incorrect. 216-474-0092. You could win a 4-pack of Mr. Hero combo meals. We're 1 minute away from the lightning round. 1 minute away from the lightning round. Chuck in Cleveland, home of the Lincoln West Wolverines. Chuck, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
He's ready. Thumbs up. Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins.
This morning at 9:20, the head coach, Ohio State basketball, will be joining us. What is his name?
Jake Diebler.
He got it in. We're giving it to him.
It must be the holiday season.
We got to play that for Coach.
He
got it in.
I was trying to decide which Diebler it was.
I almost said Jim O'Brien myself. All right. Here we go, Chuck. It's your chance to eat some Mr. Hero. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Lima, check it away.
Who won last year's Emirates Cup? Did he get it in?
No.
It's 2-second trivia,
Come
not
on,
2 minutes.
man. What is your problem?
It's the cup.
They want to eat Mr. Hero. No one knows who won the cup.
Excuse me, we have music for the cup?
Yeah, we have music for a lot of things. Jim and Medina,
Lightning
home
round.
of the Highland Hornets. It's the lightning round. Jim, ready, tone, go!
Who coaches the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons? Oh, boy.
Kevin in Brunswick. Kevin. Lima, take it away.
Army-Navy's being played this Saturday in Baltimore, but which city has hosted it the most?
Philadelphia.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin in Brunswick is also in the barn. Lima, for his chance to eat some free Mr. Hero. Take it away.
Who won Army-Navy last season by a score of 31-13?
Army.
Bet you want to ask that same question.
Jim in Northfield Park, where they go crazy every 19 seconds, but they only... Wait, 19 minutes. Damn it.
That's
All right. Jim, Lima, take it away.
That'd be like 9 of our questions would take that long. All right. Which NBA player leads the league in both rebounds and assists?
All right. Colin in Cuyahoga Falls, home of the Tigers. Lima, take it away.
All right, here we go. Who leads the Browns in passing yards this season with 937?
Joe Flacco.
Mark in Willoughby, home of the North Rangers. Mark, are you ready? You are. Lima, take it away.
How many touchdowns did Shidor Sanders account for last Sunday against the Titans?
4.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is in the barn. Lima.
Get it up.
Take it away.
The Browns had 7 picks in last year's draft. Who was their final selection?
Mason Graham.
That was the first selection.
Ooh. Ron in Streetsboro, home of the Rockets. Lima, take it away.
Who won Army-Navy last year?
Navy.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ron is in the barn for your chance to eat some free Mr. Hero. It's right there on Route 14. I've been there. Lima, take it away.
What physical characteristic has Ken gotten the most comments about on the front of his Christmas card?
Being fat.
Hey, Jason Whitlock, come on.
It's close, but no. And that is the end of 2-second trivia. We don't have a winner.
No winner. I thought it was.
How do you spell Navy?
I thought it was the lighting that did you in.
Would the maybe look fat?
No. The Christmas card.
No.
The Christmas card.
That was the calories.
Oh. I didn't know. Clearly. All right, that's the end of 2-second trivia. Congratulations on nothing. Nobody won.
Hey, they got the name of the coach right that we're having on.
Yeah, we got Jake Diebler coming on at
It's
at
a shot
9:20.
clock, guys. If they get the shot off, It doesn't matter if the buzzer rings.
Up next, Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. Mo Egger, ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati. Donnie, Football Chedrick, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh. We go around the AFC North next on The Fan.
It's Anthony.
Against the Titans, Ford's out with a shoulder injury. Both players done for the season. Don't miss the Browns preview show tonight at 7 o'clock right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m.
It's time to go around the AFC North. Remember, all guests appear on the Fan Hotline. We got 3 of them because, it's around the AFC North. And our first one, Bob Haney, 105.7 of the Fan in Baltimore, is they're at Cincinnati on Sunday. Do you feel as if now the division is yours to lose?
No, the exact opposite. If I was a betting man, and I kind of wager time to time, not good at it, I would take Cincinnati getting the points. I think the Ravens are in disarray. The offensive line, as we've talked about when I've come on with you guys, has been a disaster, and it's not getting any better. Lamar Jackson was very emotional in the Ravens locker room after the loss to the Steelers this past Sunday, and he's playing hurt. His accuracy's taking a hike on him because of all the leg injuries, I guess. He misses at least a day of practice every week. Defense has become shaky. They have no pass rush, but other than that, everything's great.
But everything I hear now, Bob, is how terrible the Steelers are. That's all I hear.
Well, it's not the 78 Steelers. Let's keep it real here. But Aaron Rodgers drank from the fountain of youth on Sunday at M&T Bank Stadium. He hadn't thrown a ball 20 yards plus in the air in over a month and did it 3 times against the beleaguered Ravens secondary. No, the Steelers aren't that great, and they could lose to the Dolphins, perhaps, coming up this week. But, I've seen the Ravens play, 13 games, and it's like the Orioles during baseball season. You kind of got the vibe in June. If this wasn't their year, I think for the Ravens, it's the same thing.
All right, Bob, what are the stakes here for Baltimore? We talk so much about, they could miss the playoffs, but what happens if they don't miss the playoffs? How big of a deal is that?
If they don't make the playoffs, given the Super Bowl expectations going into the year, it's going to be a massive deal. If they start really flatlining, start getting blown out a little bit more on the regular basis, and they've been blown out a few times. They're 3-5 at home. And they got New England coming up on a flex game next Sunday. If they miss the playoffs, things will be reevaluated. I don't know that John Harbaugh, his job is going to be in jeopardy, but I think Steve Bisciotti might be a little more involved in the offseason process than he's been in years gone by, because he does, to his credit, defers to the experts, which is DeCosta, Ozzie Newsome, of course, and John Harbaugh. But this has been a disappointing year, and they're going to have to do something with Lamar's contract because his cap hit going into next season is going to be over $70 million.
If you were in charge of the Browns, would you be letting Kevin Stfansky go?
Well, he's Coach of the Year twice. This will be another playoff less season. He was hamstrung at the quarterback situation because Deshaun Watson didn't work out. He hasn't played. Shidor's shown a pulse, I guess. Would I let him go? What's the fan base in Cleveland saying right now?
No. You own the Browns. You can't act like
I own the Browns.
Yeah, you got to act like you own the Browns.
I'll give him another year and then see if Shidor Sanders is a keeper, because I like Fannin, I like Judkins. Browns have a good defense, except last week against Tennessee, and usually they play well at home. I'd give Kevin Stefanski another year to see what you have at quarterback, and then blow things up a little bit.
Bob Haney, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. They're getting ready to take on Cincinnati in the Queen City coming up on Sunday. We now go to the Queen City. Mo Egger, ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati as they get ready to take on the Ravens. But, of course, is Zach Taylor right back on the hot seat now?
Probably not. We'll see how the final 4 games unfold. I don't know that ownership is going to pin the failures of this season on him, but I do think it's going to be interesting to see what sort of effort we see from this team, down the stretch, especially once there's an E next to their name in the standings. I think everything is on the table. I think the Bengals are a little bit more willing to make changes with regards to their head coach than most people might believe, but I think they're going to pin this season on the fact that Joe Burrow missed most of it, and that's the main reason why they weren't very good. I think that's a misguided way of looking at things, and I think that will lead to Zach Taylor being back. But I wouldn't be stunned if he's not.
Man, I can't imagine having Joe Burrow, somebody who got to the Super Bowl in the AFC Championship game, and just missing the playoffs like this, and having them have those same issues on defense year after year, and the coach eventually, not being shown the door. That's hard for me to believe, because what are you selling to the Cincinnati fans at that point?
Yeah, I think that's the issue, right? It's not so much this season. This season, I think you can go, okay, well, you know what, a draft class didn't work out, or a handful of things they tried to do didn't work out, or Joe Burrow got hurt, and that's a problem. But I go back to last year. Joe Burrow played all 17 games. I thought he was the best quarterback in the NFL, had the best single season of any QB in Bengals history. Bengals fell short of the postseason. 3 consecutive years in Joe Burrow's prime for them to not make the playoffs is organizational malpractice, is inexcusable. Now, I think Zach Taylor has been coaching a roster that was very, 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 very poorly put together by Duke Tobin, and I think if you ask most Bengals fans, that's where they aim their ire. Not so much at the coach, but the roster that the coach was given, because they ignored last year's terrible defense. They didn't do really anything to it. They've continued to draft poorly, especially on that side of the ball. And so I think the more frustrating thing for most Bengals fans isn't so much that Zach Taylor is likely to come back. It's that Duke Tobin, the de facto general manager, is likely to come back, because I think most Bengals fans point the finger at him when talking about why this team, especially on defense, has been so bad.
Has Trey Hendrickson played his last game in Cincinnati?
I think the answer is yes, but with Trey and the Bengals, you never know. I think there's a world where, all right, he ends the season hurt on the surgeon's table, and so he's not going to get the long-term, huge money contract he's looking for, and so, maybe he comes back to Cincinnati on a one-year type contract, but I think the Bengals are ready to move on. They've never had Trey in their plans for 2026. That's why he was never given a long-term contract. That's why neither of his 2 hold-ins or holdouts ever worked. And so if you didn't have plans for him in 2026 and he's missed most of this season because of injury, I don't know why suddenly you would go, all right, we want Trey on the team in 2026. I think they're ready to move on. I think they're ready to move on because I think they're starting to feel a little bit better about one of their young pass rushers and Miles Murphy. I also think they look at the resources they would have to throw at Trey Hendrickson and go, okay, our defense needs an overhaul. The money we would pay Trey, we could probably split up among multiple players.
Real quick, would you if you own the Browns, would you let go of Kevin Stfansky?
I'll ask you a question. If Kevin Stfansky got let go, do you think he would be hired by another NFL team?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not totally sold.
I think the answer is maybe yes. I think in large part that's due to the fact that there aren't a ton of overwhelmingly obvious names in this cycle. I think the failures of the Browns are similar to the failures of the Bengals, where, and you guys know about the situation there a lot better than I do. To me, it looks like an ownership thing, a front office thing. I don't think Kevin Stefanski's perfect, but I think just the way this season, the last 2 seasons, just felt like they were destined to fail from the get-go. They do have some good young players. Let Kevin Stefanski help figure out the quarterback situation. I'd give him another year. But at the same time, it's not like, oh, man, I can't believe they're letting a future Hall of Fame coach go. I would probably keep him around, but I guess like with Zach Taylor, Zach Taylor doesn't move the meter for me all that much, and I'm not sure Kevin Stefanski does either, but I think he's held in higher regard in league circles than Zach does. If Zach Taylor got let go, I don't think anybody's higher than that guy. Kevin Stefanski, I think, would at least get some interest.
Mo Egger, ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati, as the Bengals get ready to host the Baltimore Ravens coming up on Sunday at 1 o'clock. This team is hosting the Miami Dolphins Monday night. It is the Steelers, and it's Donnie Chedrick, Donnie Football, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh. Would you trade Mike Tomlin for Kevin Stefanski right now?
No. You mean 1-for-1, Mike Tomlin for Kevin Stefanski? No, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
Interesting.
What?
I've heard so many people in Pittsburgh that are just done with Mike Tomlin overall. I certainly know people at your station have said that because of how stale it's gotten. Overall, where are you on Mike Tomlin?
I feel like he is in a spot where they have to at least be competitive in a playoff game. I mean, right now they have they have the easiest path to winning the AFC North. They beat the Ravens in a very meaningful game on Sunday. The Ravens have a gauntlet down the stretch. Really, as long as the Steelers can get to 9-8, I mean 8-9 might even do it, guys, with the way this division looks. And then they have to at least look like they have a heartbeat in a playoff game because that hasn't happened in nearly a decade. It could be very easy for them to just do the same thing, though. Go to the playoffs, everybody's excited until they actually kick off the football, and then they lose by 3 scores.
How frustrated is Aaron Rodgers with the receiving corps there in Pittsburgh?
I mean, at least with some of the young guys, Roman Wilson, who was a third-round pick 2 years ago, has been benched. He was the healthy scratch on Sunday in, again, their biggest game of the year. Roman Wilson gets to sit down for Adam Thielen, who's 35 years old and showed up, middle of last week, and MVS, who is Aaron Rodgers' old buddy from Green Bay years ago, who really hasn't done anything since the COVID year. So, I mean, at least with one particular young receiver, it feels like things have already sailed on Roman Wilson.
All right, Donnie, you've had Russell Wilson, you've had Justin Fields, you've had Kenny Pickett, you had Mason Rudolph, you had washed up Big Ben towards the end. Where does Aaron Rodgers fit in this conversation?
I feel like I would put Rodgers right around the top with like the ghost of Big Ben, just because even though he's had some really, really ugly games, I mean, you have the Bills game, you have the Chargers game, it feels at least with him that he'll hold people a little bit more accountable than, say, robot Russell Wilson would have last year in this spot when things started to get bad. And it also feels like he could pull back and have a bit of a vintage game like he did on Sunday, or maybe like he did against the Jets early in the year. So at least gives me some glimmer of hope that if they do get into a playoff setting, that they have a guy at quarterback that's been their best one probably since Ben retired.
If you were the Browns, if you own the Browns, would you let go of Kevin Stfansky after this year, or even sooner?
I heard you guys ask Mo this, and I actually, on my show the other night, I had one of our guys in Pittsburgh who made the point that you could probably fire every single head coach in the AFC North after the season, and there would be reason for it. I mean, you have Tomlin, who hasn't won a playoff game in almost a decade, and it's always the same thing. The Bengals, Zach Taylor is one of the worst coaches in league history if he doesn't have Joe Burrow at quarterback. John Harbaugh, I think there's reason for people to question if the course has been run there, and if he's ever going to get over that hump with Lamar Jackson, who's a generational player. And it feels like the Browns have been in neutral, even though I'll say this, I don't know if you guys were going to ask about it. It feels like Shidor Sanders might have something to him.
No, we haven't talked about Shidor Sanders at all this week.
Maybe we should start.
Donnie, so you would not get rid of him, or you would? I got to mark you down for something here.
I would.
Okay. Donnie Football, Donnie Chedrick, 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh on the Fan Hotline. That's 2 out of 3 said they'd hold on to him.
Are they just saying that because they'd like to compete against him?
Well, we'll talk about that when we come back. Also, was it a thong or a jockstrap? This is what you debate when you're 3-10. Coming up on the Fan.
sportsradio.com today. Whenever you need to talk college football, we've got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Bob Haney, Mo Egger, Donnie Chedrick. If you were in charge of the Browns, would you be letting Kevin Stfansky go?
I'd give Kevin Stfansky another year to see what you have at quarterback.
I would probably keep him around.
You would not get rid of him, or you would?
I would.
3 people on around the AFC North. 2 of 3 said they'd hold on to Kevin Stfansky for another year. First thing Bob Haney said was the Coach of the Year thing. How many guys just wanted to pull over and start fight in the air? When Bob said that,
oh yeah,
Coach of the Year, 2-time Coach of the Year. It's like, man, you mention that in an argument anymore, and you better be ready to throw down.
But that's the thing. I've heard the afternoon show when they're like, they get mad when people mention it. I'm like, well, it's part of the resume. Why would you not mention it? Like, say he had Coach of the Years and then he had these other bad seasons, but why are we just taking away pretty good accolades? It's nice to win Coach of the Year. It's better than being the worst coach in the NFL. It's better than missing the playoffs those 2 years. Like, why wouldn't you at least use it? Like, the team that hires Kevin Stfansky, if that's supposedly going to happen, don't you think the fans are going to say, yeah, it's 2-time Coach of the Year? And wouldn't we say it if we hired another coach that was Bruce Arians ever Coach of the Year? Wouldn't we say, yeah, and he was Coach of the Year?
It's interesting you say such a thing because Albert Breer was asked about the possibility of Kevin Stfansky moving on. And here's what Albert Breer had to say to the guys in the afternoon.
Do you feel like Stfansky would prefer a clean slate, a fresh start somewhere else?
That's a tricky question. I think I think he likes the people that he works with. This is just my opinion. I think he likes working with the Haslams. I think he's got a good working relationship with them. I think, obviously he and Andrew Berry have a good rapport. I just think so much has happened in the last 6 years. I think it is fair to ask that question. Is this the right mix to go forward with based on the history that everybody has together? You went through the Baker thing together, which clearly Baker would have been a better answer at quarterback. You wind up making the trade for Deshaun Watson. Clearly that was a mistake. And you had this core of players that I think was very clearly a playoff caliber core. And because of the mess at quarterback, the chance that core of players had of really competing at the highest level was completely undermined, right? So that's your history right now. So how do you come out of that? That doesn't mean the people can't work together or there aren't good people. But I think when that's your history, your working history with someone, it can be a little bit difficult to come out of that. So I think that's something that everybody's going to have to evaluate at the end of the year.
So I hear that, and when I hear that hemming and hawing at the beginning, I go, what do you know? What do you know? When you say that's a tricky question, no, it's not a tricky question. It's not. That means you know something. That means you know something. It ain't a tricky question. How many head coaches do you guys... Lane Kiffin. I'll give you Lane Kiffin. How many coaches do you guys know, though, other than Lane Kiffin, who get asked questions about their job security or something like that, and they go, this is where I am, this is where I'm sticking, we're climbing out of this foxhole. Especially in questions of if their job is on the line and there's rumbles about them maybe getting let go. They all say it, they all do it. And I'm hearing, well, that's a tricky question. What do you know? Because it ain't tricky. 99% of these guys, I went back to Jim Fossil. We played that earlier at the beginning of the show. I go right back to Jim Fossil. I'm pushing my chips to the center of the table. This team's going to the playoffs. They ended up going to the Super Bowl. They lost. God rest his soul. Yeah, Jim Fossil did pass away, I think. Go ahead and say what you were going to say. Now I got to look up whether or not Jim Fossil.
I wasn't sure. I don't want to say anything and get it wrong.
Jim Fossil he passed away June 7th, 2021.
It does, Kenny. It does seem like the stuff that's starting to come out, or the leaks, or whatever. It would, to me, it would start to point the arrow towards a coach that's probably not going to be here next year. Now, what happens if they go on a tear here, right? What if Shidor? Could Shidor rescue Kevin Stfansky by playing really well and having the offense look lights out in these games? I mean, remember, the offensive line is going to be a big issue. If he overcomes that and it looks like there's good play calling, good strategy, managing the game, stuff we have not seen. Let's be honest. It's been a long time. We'll look back and say, well, why wasn't this earlier? That's all fine and dandy. But we know this is an owner that doesn't want to make changes. Is that something that could happen? Could all of this be a moot point if Shidor plays really well down the stretch? Could he actually save Kevin Stefanski's job?
Oh, yeah, I think that that's a possibility. I think that anything you could possibly think of other than the Browns trying to stick it to him on purpose, Shidor, I think everything else is on the table. I think it's all possible. I think if you want, like, you might want Kevin Stefanski gone. Well, if Shidor wins some games, Kevin Stefanski ain't going anywhere. If you want Shidor Sanders gone, well, I mean, you might get your wish, but both of them are going to be gone. But I don't know how many people really want Shidor Sanders gone. Are there people who just hate the Browns and don't want him here? If you want Andrew Berry gone, all right, well, he picked Shidor. If Shidor does well, am I going to get rid of Andrew Berry? Well, what was the last draft class? Does the last draft class save Andrew Berry? Well, you have an owner who does not want to make a lot of changes. He does not like doing that. And then we have a fan base that doesn't like Jimmy being involved, but wants Jimmy to get involved to make guys go away. Like, it's all out there, man. This is as nutty as it gets. So I can only go with my plan for everything. I want to see how Shidor does the rest of the year. If Shidor doesn't win another game for the rest of the year, but he looks good, let's talk turkey for next year. Let's talk about possibilities for other people. If they win a few games, let's talk about possibilities to stay. I mean, I really do. I think that the last month of the season, I think there's a lot of things that have been caused here that I have a problem with Kevin on. There's a lot of things that have been caused here where I would probably sympathize with Kevin on. But I don't really want to sympathize with the head coach because you're the head coach. You're the one that should be holding on to the power. So were you or were you not willing to do it? Also, again, I got to bring up, I have the list. Who wants the situation? Who wants this situation? So you could have a spot, and this is a scenario that I don't necessarily see playing out. You could have a spot like what happened on Sunday. Shidor plays really well. You lose games. You end up with a new head coach next year. Mm-hmm. Does somebody want to walk towards Shidor?
If he plays well, yeah.
If he plays well.
I think all the stuff that I thought couldn't happen, which was, all right, 5th round pick, he's got these things, right? These narratives that were surrounding him that caused him to free fall in the draft all the way down to the 5th round despite talent that we all had seen. And remember, we were doing shows last year where we're like, all right, is Shidor going to be the first or second quarterback taken in this draft? Mm-hmm. Remember, we did shows on all of that. And then after the combine, we kept hearing, oh, he's slipping. He's slipping. Nobody has a first-round grade on him. Now, everything changes if he just plays well. Yeah. Nobody's going to care that he has cameras following him around everywhere and he's, on a reality show. Like, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care if he's winning games or at least playing well and looking like all you need are certain pieces and parts around him. People will stomach that. That'll change in a hurry.
Well, the folks who are this is where I think you guys need to be united on. Is it's not just when I say you have to win, it's not just, well, Kenny's an idiot and he's egotistical and he just wants to play for his pride instead of doing what's right by the franchise. No, when I say you need to want to win, you guys got to get that tanking thinking out of your heads. I'm talking to you as well. Because tanking is, if you want Shidor to be successful and you want Shidor to be successful here, or you do not want to draft a quarterback next year, tanking is the worst possible thing for you. Losing games is the worst possible thing.
You're talking about down the stretch this year?
Yes. You have to want to win some games.
I think
you
it's
have
pretty
to
clear. But I think it's pretty clear that the players that are out there, that are available, I mean, they played hard this last week. There haven't been that many games where I thought those guys just totally gave up.
That's fine. But you understand where I'm going with this, right? If they get the number 1 or 2 overall pick, you know the Browns and I know the Browns. Mm-hmm. Who do you think the Browns are taking the quarterback? Number 1 or number 2?
Not if Shidor lights it up here down the stretch.
Are they going to be able to win anything if Shidor lights it up? Yes. Is Shidor really going to be able to light it up? And they're still is he still going to be able to look good and lose these games? The Bears' defense ain't that great. Cincinnati's defense isn't good. Pittsburgh's defense is okay.
But those are
Buffalo's
teams trying
defense
to win.
Isn't as good as it's been in the past. But these are teams that are trying to win.
And now there's tape on Shidor. There's a little more tape now.
Again, you know him and I know him. So do you believe that if the Browns have the number 1 or number 2 pick next year, they're taking a quarterback?
Right
yes
now,
or no?
I would expect them still to take a quarterback.
Right now, you would expect them to take a quarterback, yes. So if they win a couple of games here and they end up with a 5-win team, we could be sitting here talking about Kevin. I know that, and that's not what a lot of people want. Okay, go one step by one step here. If they end up with 5 wins, you take yourself out of this spot of number 1 or number 2. If you end up with just 3, you may end up with that because you have the second hardest strength of schedule of the top 5 picking teams right now. according to NFL.com. So if you have the second toughest strength of schedule, it's pretty possible that you could draft number 1 or number 2. And so the people who don't want a quarterback, this is what can happen for you. You could go and you could take Caden Proctor or Arvell Reese or Carnell Tate or this, that, and the other. And if he goes out and say you're like, hey, I don't know how good he is. I don't like Fernando Mendoza, or I don't like Dante Moore. Julian Sain in 2027. Arch is starting to come along. Lenoris Sellers, 2027's the year. That's great. Fine. I'll meet you halfway. Because you could set yourself up where either A, Shidor goes in 2026. I don't want to have this argument about Deshaun Watson starting 2026. Shidor. So if Shidor starts 2026, plays well, excellent. It's great. We got even more players around him. If Shidor starts 2026 and he's not that good, maybe he gets figured out on Tate. Year 2, things can be a little difficult on guys. I know Drake May's playing well. Year 2 can be tough. Maybe it doesn't go that well for him. All right, you're still set up to bring in and incubate another quarterback if you really wanted to do it your guys' way. I know there's a lot of people who want Shidor to be successful, and there's a lot of people who might not think that greatly of Shidor, but they also are terrified of these quarterbacks because you're terrified. I'll meet you halfway and say this is a way to do it. So if you win 1 or 2 more games, get yourself out of there. You could always say, I'm not moving up for these guys.
By the way,
of course, you could find out one of them plays like amazing in the postseason, then maybe you'll change your tune. But
I know we got to go, but you're right. People are always terrified. What is terrifying? If Mendoza ends up winning the Heisman, winning the national championship, going on this run, beating Ohio State maybe a second time,
we'll have a conversation.
What in the world is terrifying about that? Isn't that exciting if you have a chance to get him?
I think they're less afraid of Fernando Mendoza and they're more afraid of the 40-plus quarterback jersey.
If Mendoza pulled off what I just said, that's more impressive than anything Shidor did. That's more impressive than anything Dylan Gabriel did. That's more impressive than almost any at Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
By far, that would be the most special thing I have seen from a college football quarterback in a long time.
But you got to get
Are
ready.
They all 13-10 wins.
Even, just for ease, if I wanted to be lazy, I could go.
Ohio State's defense is really good.
Even if I wanted to be lazy, guys, I would want Shidor to do well because I wouldn't have to have these conversations about, this team is not in a position to draft a quarterback. I don't know. They had 6 Pro Bowlers at one point. Back when they actually played a game in the Pro Bowl, they had 6 Pro Bowlers one time. They had 4 wins because they had Brandon Weeden as their quarterback. Like, they've had good teams around bad quarterbacks before. We just haven't been able to see it because the quarterback play was so bad because he got caught under a flag. And he tried to flip the ball against the Detroit Lions. So I'd much rather have just Shidor do well and never have that conversation, at least for another 15 years. Coming up at 9:20, ladies and gentlemen, Jig Diebler going to join us on the show. Ohio State men's basketball. They're playing in Cleveland this weekend. We'll want to talk to him coming up at 9:20. And I've been teasing all morning. We're going to get to it next. Shidor's own brother asked him the question that you have been asking each other on your phones and at the bowling alley and at the bar since Sunday. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, we finally get
in town. 92.3 The Fan. Powered by Shidor Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. There's Cavs and there's NBA news that happens while you at work. Baskin and Phelps. Weekday mornings starting at 10.
So coming up at 9:20, should have Jake Diebler, head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, on the show. Basketball team, men's basketball team. And we have some audio for you guys to hear where we finally get to the bottom of something that has been a controversy since Sunday afternoon. I'm going to get to that here in a second. Folks, we have some updated odds from the Sharps and Vermilion. Lima is working his phone right now.
It's incredible. I mean, these numbers come in fast and furious.
Oh, my goodness.
Almost hourly. It's been hard to keep up.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, it's been such a comprehensive search from what we've heard, an international search. They've checked in on 4 different continents. This is hard to believe, but the odds just keep changing, Kenny.
So the odds are of the next St. Ignatius head coach. Lima, what do you know?
I'm going to tweet this out. Again, these are all...
Oh, he's going to put it out there.
These are all sent to me. Sharps and Vermilion, now that the games are over, they're now able to almost finely tune these odds. They're a lot more strategic. You know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they're just throwing out a wide net because, again, the people are betting on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's legal to bet on this stuff now. It's incredible. So they are taking into consideration.
It's legal to bet with a sports book.
Yeah, I don't know where you can find this.
I don't know where you're going to find a sports book carrying the Ignatius next head coaching
when
odds.
I was down in Youngstown at the MVR, they were talking about this.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say I don't know what is legal. Legal and Youngstown don't necessarily go hand in hand, my friend. What do you got over there?
Right,
You going to name him?
Right now, so Elder's off the list. Did something happen? Elder's off the list after a state championship at Avon.
Oh, boy.
Just saying, he was on the list. Now he's off the list entirely. It's not like the odds changed. He's off the list. You can't bet on the state championship head coach in Avon. You can't even do it. I can tell you who is on. Stfansky's also off the list. So Stfansky was on the original list. He was towards the bottom. It was a long shot.
Okay.
Just saying. Right now, Tom Kaufman, 5-1
Tom
odds.
Coughlin?
Kaufman. He is the Marietta head football coach.
Okay.
Formerly, he was at what? Gilmore?
Marietta College.
Yeah.
Home of the Pioneers?
Yes, the Pios.
I shouldn't know that. I'm a football
in the Mid
sucker.
Ohio Valley.
Okay. Continue.
What is that? Brian Polian, 10-1.
What?
Brian Polian.
That's a guy from John Carroll.
Listen, I've got the list. I mean,
I didn't
the list
see
is
this.
here.
This is great. Okay, continue.
And it does not surprise. Like Jeff Rodsky, he's going to be on every list forever, right? It's Jeff Rodsky.
Everyone knows the Rodsky rule. Have him on the list.
You got to interview him as part of the Rodsky rule.
Why wouldn't you hire Rodsky?
That's good on.
He knows what he's doing.
He turns around programs everywhere,
and that's a 1-9
right now. They need it. They need it turned around.
All right, continue.
But Charles Bentley is on the list at 15-1.
Do you want the pressure that comes with going home and trying to resurrect the program?
You got Tom Arth, Rick Finati, John Gannon, long shot, 50-1.
Jonathan Gannon's on the list.
Could he come home? Because it looks like things are going to be wrapping up out there in Arizona.
Live at 12 hours ago. This list has shifted dramatically in the last 24 hours. Lots of moving parts. Stay tuned.
Now, again, I don't know where you can actually lay down and lay down some money, take advantage of these odds.
I saw one of the replies to you.
What was?
Nothing.
You want to go ahead and do our social media reactions brought to you by Shibor Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store?
Scott's reaction to you. I can't say it. The dad listens and so does he. I can't say it.
Oh,
man, it's tough, man. It's tough. Like, listen. I'm going to say this quick and then we're going to get to the Shiloh audio. Who's having a better morning than Tom Lombardo right now? Who's having a better morning than that guy in the city of Cleveland or Lakewood? My goodness gracious. Whew, man. They said they wanted it filled by December 31st. Are they going to meet the deadline?
It's a fabled, storied program. Maybe somebody is going to want to coach that
Maybe they luck into it like Penn State did.
And
maybe they luck into it. Penn State, they were bopping around, and maybe they'll.
Yep.
You can always fail upward.
It's happened.
Yeah, it's happened. All right, I got some audio here because I decided not to do this on the air. Did the afternoon show talk about this on the air at all? Did midday talk about this on the air at all? Apparently, I didn't see it. I still haven't seen it.
I'm sure Andy and Jeff weighed in heavily.
This is when Shidor ran for the touchdown?
I think he got tackled.
There were a few different instances that I was getting.
There were some people who thought they were wondering what Shidor was wearing.
His undergarment.
Yes.
Now, is that a little creepy that people are paying attention to that stuff?
People pay attention to everything.
Well, they do. If it's on camera on national TV, people do.
Here is Shidor Sanders' YouTube channel where we get down to the nitty gritty on this 3-10 football team.
Nuts and bolts.
Did you wear a thong or not?
Come on, bro.
What's going on with you, bro?
You forgot I had a little back injury, right? So I get my back taped. But that is crazy that it did look like that. That's funny, though. After the game, they talking about, man, I got on the thong.
How do you feel playing a good game? I know you guys lost and stuff, but how do you feel playing a good game and then everything just gets shadowed by your thong?
It's like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. That's obvious back tape.
That's Shidor Sanders' YouTube channel. I walked in yesterday and someone goes, Kenny. I says, what? This is over at 8. And they go, was it a thong or what was it? I go, it was a jock strap. That's enough. I didn't even think it was tape.
Yeah. I mean, it did look. I
didn't even think it was tape. I thought it was a jock strap.
Like when you do a shoulder injury, they do the kinesio tape. They make the X in a loop, right? It kind of looks like a fish. This is a whale tail. You got to do a whale tail whenever you have a back injury.
And honestly, so what? If he would have been wearing a thong, so what?
If that's what gets him going and gives him that confidence on a football field with all those other monsters chasing him down from behind, if that helps him feel secure, then by all means, then he is the type of trendsetter that if he wore a thong, this entire city is going to be wearing thongs.
You guys didn't do a whole story on Nuke Lelouch and what he wore. Let him wear what he wants to wear. If it was back tape, it was back tape. That's fine. If it was anything else, that's fine too, as long as they keep winning. Otto Graham used to wear a onesie. I swear to God. Look it up. You can look it up.
You wear a leotard?
Yeah, that thing that snaps in the middle.
I haven't played fantasy football in 10 years, but Otto Graham's onesie will be the name of my team.
You guys, look it up. Look it up. I'm not lying to you. He wanted to keep his shirt tucked. He didn't like the look of the shirt not being tucked, so he had one of them things with the snaps in there. I'm not lying to you. Why would I make that up?
It's so crazy that I couldn't believe you were lying.
Look it up.
I mean, Homage does sell an Otto Graham baby onesie.
Look it up, man.
It is crazy, like to see the fashion in sports kind of change over the years. Like in basketball, they used to have the baggy, and then now they're the short shorts.
We need baggy shorts.
Kirk Herbstreit went off at the one college punter.
It's Oklahoma's field goal kicker.
That's a field goal kicker, and he was wearing short shorts.
Yeah,
it was pretty ridiculous.
I mean, Michigan's running back in the game. Those things were, you saw half a thigh in them.
Well, remember when Ezekiel Elliott, when they won the national championship.
People are saying I'm crazy. Guys, go look it up. Go look up Otto Graham. I'm telling you used to do it. And if Otto Graham, a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterback ever, was wearing to wear something a little different, Shidor Sanders can wear whatever he wants. That includes back tape, which is what it was. Thank you very much. Jake Diebler going to join us at 9:20 on the show. A question of credit. And who deserves the most? I think it's the guy playing, coming up in 5 on the Fan. Tom Merriman of Merriman Legal. Folks, you need somebody on your side. You need somebody to advocate for you. You need somebody who's willing to work for you. In fact, it's not just a somebody. You deserve an entire team. You get it with Tom Merriman and Merriman Legal. Folks, make that call today, 216-522-9000. It's 216-522-9000. Whether you are talking about a car accident, whether you're talking about a personal injury, whether you're talking about something that happened on the job, you need your peace of mind. You deserve justice, and you can get your justice from Tom Merriman and Merriman Legal. You need to take advantage.
Thomas.
Tune in Thursday nights at 7 to hear from the Browns head coach himself.
During the week, you talk about 2-point plays in total, plays that you like in those moments. And obviously, the first one we didn't get off exactly how we wanted to. The second one didn't get off how we wanted to.
The Kevin Stfansky Show, Thursday night at 7. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Who's getting credit? Find out here in just a damn second, but you got something to give away. Jake Diebler going to join us at 9:20. Go ahead.
And we do have this. We're looking for a winner. Enter the code word college at 923thefan.com before 10 a.m. Your chance to win pair of tickets to the Cleveland Hoops Showdown this Saturday, December 13th at Rocket Arena, featuring Ohio State versus West Virginia and Ohio versus St. Bonaventure. All tipping off at 5 p.m. Get your tickets at rocketarena.com. That's college at 923thefan.com.
Jeff Shreve doing the PA.
It's got to be, right?
Time out on the floor. My favorite. My absolute favorite.
We going this year?
Jake Diebler will be
to the MAC tournament?
Yep.
Maybe. Yeah, Jake Diebler will be here. He's coming up hopefully at 9:20 this morning. Also, I'm getting confirmation about Otto Graham's jersey. I told you guys, dude, he wore like a onesie.
It's been confirmed? Do we have pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see those pictures then.
I'll send you a picture right now.
Searching all for them.
I'll send you a picture right now. By the way, the text messages are going absolutely nuts right now because of your list.
Not my list. I want to be clear. Not my list.
Okay, the Sharps and Vermilion list. My phone, I can't even keep up with the text messages because of you. Thank you very much. On the next Ignatius head coach. We're talking about the next quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, and I'm getting me all worked up over the next head coach of St. Ignatius. You are ridiculous.
I can't remember a high school vacancy that has gotten this much fanfare.
It's because you've created it.
No, the Sharps.
The Sharps and Vermilion. Okay, fair enough. The Sharps and Vermilion have created it. So who gets credit for Shidor's success?
Shidor.
Thank you very much. Moving on. 216-474-00. No, I've heard the debate of if he ends up being successful, and I'm going, wait, hold on here. 5th round guy was in a 4-quarterback thing. All right? Now, I don't know how this is all going to work out. They could end up moving on from anybody, and it could be a great story later on where, oh, boy, they weren't even giving him reps to start off things, and then here it is, where, boy, you have set this up. If he ends up being great, if he really ends up being great, and they move on from guys, you are setting up Andrew Berry and Kevin Stfansky to be two of the biggest heels in football history. What if he ends up being that good? What if he ends up being the next great thing and we go on and we're winning football games? Let a guy dream for just a second, can't we? What if he does end up going on and doing well? You would set those two up to be some of the biggest heels in football history because there is a possibility they could just keep him and move on from the other guys, but I still wonder if the results aren't similar over the next 4 games, what would new people coming in do? That's a discussion we could have here in a month or so. But
wait, it's like you said those two villains are who? You're saying
Andrew Berry and Kevin Stfansky.
And it's just funny because this is the team that drafted Shidor Sanders. Like the guy, the GM that drafts the player, just because of what they mishandled.
It seems
a training camp or whatever.
Yeah, how could you not?
But by the way, if that ends up happening and he ends up being really good, then none of this mattered.
We love stories.
Then none of this really mattered at all.
I know that, but we love stories. So you could sit there and try to fight the good fight of history all you want and be like, well, they really did this, that, and the other to really set them up the right way. That doesn't sell. Like in the movie Rudy, there had to be a bad guy. Poor Dan Devine was portrayed to be the bad guy, even though he wasn't a bad guy and wanted the guy to play in real life. But somebody's going to be the bad guy. And we love good stories. And what story is better than, yeah, he was a 5th-round pick, and he had to compete against 4 other guys, and they didn't even give him 3 other guys, and they didn't even give him a fair shake. And he was throwing to ball boys. He was throwing to ball boys. He was buried on the depth chart, and then he came into a game later on against Baltimore, and he struggled, and everybody thought he was going to struggle, and then he just turned it on, and away he goes to Canton. Oh, people love that. They're set it up to be that way. But ultimately, if you're going to talk about credit given, credit has to go to him because of all those things I just said. You got to be a quick study. Nobody can hand you experience. Nobody can hand you. They can hand you a playbook. They can hand you a Microsoft Surface, and you could go over some of the things there. But nothing's going to trade that experience, and nothing's going to be able to trade a fast learner. Because I got to tell you this: one thing I've been most impressed with him is, people make this comparison between the exuberance for Shidor Sanders and the exuberance there was for Tim Tebow. There are already things that he does that I think a guy like Greg Cosell or somebody who watches tape might think is a terminal weakness or something like that. I know that term's been used for quarterbacks before. A habit that is just so hard to break, you're going to have to move past it. A flurry of that. He's already, the outside of the drifting the pocket, looked like he got rid of that on Sunday. Climbing the pocket, looked like he did that. His platform seems to be so much better. His eyes are already so much better. Like, when we make these delineations, guys, you got to understand this. The other guy, Tebow, didn't do any of that stuff. Didn't do any of that stuff. Like, when he got drafted, I remember, it's been 3 months, and he's done all these things to get ready for the season. And it was always this offseason. I'm like, guys, just because you're getting chased around with brooms, you're getting chased around with other things, doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it in real time. And Shidor did that on Sunday. He really did show that improvement with his feet, with his eyes, with how he felt, with pocket presence. Yeah, man, he's young, and there's not a ton of experience, and there was silliness that went on when it comes to the interception and a couple of bad sacks. I think he was sacked twice. One was bad. You're going to have that with a young guy. Mm-hmm. But when I go back to the other stuff, I really am. When I saw him against Baltimore running around, and when I saw this coaching staff, where I don't know if the coaching staff really even wanted him. I don't even know if the general manager really even wanted him. In a lot of ways, I think they didn't. And I thought that this thing was going to be led to an out-and-out disaster, and that the Browns were going to look really, really bad doing this. And he was good, okay, and really good in these first 3 games. And I think he's taken incremental steps forward in each of these games. Kevin, if you want to give him a little credit, whatever. Tommy Rees, whatever. I think a lot of credit has to be given to him. Tone, I think you agree with me.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I think is kind of silly. Like, people, because Kevin's got a terrible record now, in the last 2 years have been abysmal, and we've seen egregious coaching mistakes. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
This year especially. It's been really, really bad. And then, and I don't think this is not the ideal quarterback room for Kevin Stfansky, having 4 guys, 2 veterans, 2 rookies. I don't think any coach would love that. But in the end, I think it's kind of silly to assume he's not getting any good coaching, Shidor. Like all of those things mean that Kevin's just, telling him the wrong things to do or the wrong mechanics. Like that. This is an NFL. It's an NFL building. It is respected, believe it or not. It is respected, in various parts of the league. They don't have clowns running the show like we believe me, we've had those years, right?
Yeah,
Kenny, where the league ridiculed and mocked the Browns. So they hired that guy, and that's his coordinator. This is believe it or not, this is respected. Doesn't mean they're going to win, and they haven't. They haven't won enough. They're probably going to lose their jobs because of it. But I do think there is some coaching, right? You mentioned all those things that Shidor's gotten better at, and we gave Shidor the credit. But is some of that coaching too? Any of it? They are coaching these guys.
Yeah, of course. There's ways to go in there and teach them a different game. So, there's going to be some credit. But I got to give the guy credit to be willing to learn and to be willing to change. Sure. And because there is something to be said where, and Deion Sanders even said it himself, he's not his coach for the first time in his entire life. He's not his coach for the first time ever. And that the first time ever that happens is when you're in the NFL and you're playing for the Browns, where, everybody has a preconceived notion of the Browns outside of Cleveland. Yep. And we're just trying to change this thing and make this thing better so people don't have that preconceived notion. But people already had, I guarantee it, the people who are hardcore fans of him had a lump in their throat when the Browns took him. Had a lump in their throat. Like, oh boy, this is where quarterbacks go to struggle or where quarterbacks go to fail. So yes, Kevin and Tommy Rees does deserve, I shouldn't have said whatever. They do deserve some credit. If Jimmy Haslam walked in and took it, then give him some credit as well. If he's the one who made the draft decision, then give him some credit as well. I'm not sure who did it. Because it seemed to be that they were pretty adamant on their QB. The regret I have is that I took what they said, or I took what the insiders have put out there, that he wasn't ready, that it was going to take time, and we'll find maybe it's going to look terrible over the next 4 games. I know Jonathan took some victory laps, but I took it and I go, yeah, they're not. I got wrapped up and they're not trying to put screws to him to where I thought, yeah, they still could be very well making a mistake and putting Dylan Gabriel out there before him. Because if we're in evaluation mode, I've been saying this entire year, one guy has a higher ceiling. That's Shidor. I'd much rather see him. So I would rather see him, the guy with a higher ceiling, to give him more time if we're just going to evaluate here. That might seem crazy, but if everybody's just going to talk about evaluation and that's it, and it's more important to evaluate and to not win games, not try to win games for your veterans, fine. Then, yeah, he should have been playing before Dylan Gabriel. Because Dylan Gabriel, I wish it was another way, man, but it just seems to be that amount of games, that handful of games, was just existing in the ether and going out there.
And he had no chance.
This is a real discussion.
There was at no point did we think that was a guy capable of making some of these throws we've seen from Shidor.
This guy's a real conversation. Do I keep him? He's just going to be a starter the rest of the year. Do I make it a competition next year? Do I hand the keys to him? Do I draft somebody else? He's played well enough where people consider not drafting somebody else. People consider putting weapons around him. What do I do if I make a coaching change? Should I think about him as I'm making a coaching change? Like, these are things that are really well talked about here, and rightfully should be talked about when you have a 3-10 football team. But when it comes to the other guy, I wasn't making any of those decisions. Like, if Shidor goes out against Chicago and against Buffalo and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and plays well, like, you're starting to think about the best interest of him. I never, from the day they drafted him to now, never felt that way about Dylan Gabriel. I don't mean to beat up on the guy, and it sounds like I am. And, yeah, I mean, we're making a comparison here. It sucks. Maybe he should have just been drafted by the Dolphins, the way Albert Breer said yesterday. But I can only make that comparison because I can't go back in time. But, man, I wish I had 5 games back to see whether or not he could do it. And if we got to this point where it was December 10th and, yeah, you ain't got nothing there, okay, fine. Because I don't want to waste, I can't waste any more time. And I really wish we didn't beforehand. Coming up next, Jake Diebler. He ain't no waste of time. He's leading the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll talk to the men's basketball coach of the Buckeyes, who will be in town this coming weekend. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan. Northeast Ohio.
of the baseball winter meetings, but there was some news about the Guardians and the World Baseball Classic. Catcher Bo Naylor is going to play for Team Canada, and infielder Travis Bazzana will play for Team Australia. On the ice, Cleveland Monsters beat Charlotte 3-1. Monsters win their third straight. Don't miss the Browns preview show tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
We've been giving away tickets all week to the Cleveland Hoops Showdown. Ohio State, West Virginia coming up Saturday, 5 o'clock p.m. The earlier game, Ohio University and St. Bonaventure. We know those programs well, Ken.
I knew a PA announcer for the Bonnies.
Oh, yeah?
You can't make that up, so yeah. Yeah, I did.
Heck yeah. So looking forward to that this weekend. Yeah, Jeff Bowles going up against Wojbomb himself. He's not the coach, but you get what we're saying. And join us right now on the hotline. We are excited to be. He was actually the answer to one of our 2-second trivia questions earlier today.
Yes, he was.
It is the head coach of the Ohio State basketball program. That would be Jake Diebler. Coach, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it.
I got to ask, I know West Virginia has been here before. I got a chance to see them, when Huggins was running the program, and it was a great event. So we're expecting another great event. This has been, in the past, when I was younger, this was a bigger college basketball town. And obviously when Ohio State was really humming during the Thad Matta days, the fanfare in this community for the program. And now you guys also are bringing in a kid from technically Northeast Ohio as part of a well-heralded recruiting class. The kid from... CVCA, right, Coach?
Western Reserve, Anthony Thompson.
Oh, they're gonna. Those are fighting words. They're gonna get that now. But this is gonna be exciting Saturday for you guys and for college basketball here in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, no question. Every time we go up there and play, especially the last couple times we've played West Virginia up there, it's been a great environment. And Cleveland area, that Northeast Ohio area, is full of Buckeyes, and they show up and show out in a big way when we get a chance to go up there. So we're really excited. It's a big opportunity for us to bounce back after a tough one last night, and we're going to need as much of Buckeye Nation in there as possible to help us beat West Virginia.
Coach, you and I are the same age, so we all grew up with the Maui Invitational and the Battle of the Atlantis and all the other things. Do you think that there will be more December showcase games, out of conference games and things like that throughout the month of December in the coming years?
I think so. I think there will be. There's a lot of factors for that. Part of it is right now we're playing Big Ten games in December, and so that's caused an adjustment in the non-conference schedule. The other thing is these kind of showcase games. There's a lot of benefit financially for playing those games for the universities and players. So there's a lot of factors. And for us, the way your schedule is analyzed, this gives you an opportunity to play high-level teams outside of your conference. And we certainly want to be aggressive with scheduling to do that. So a lot of great comes from this. And I love being able to move a game within the state of Ohio to play to kind of, make some accessibility to our fans, better.
All right, Jake Diebler, Ohio State basketball coach, join us. You went from the interim head coach to getting the job and, being able to live out a dream of yours. It is year 2. You mentioned the loss last night was a close one there late in that game, falling to Illinois in Big Ten play. The conference is absolutely brutal this year. 4 teams in the top 13. What's this been like for you, and especially amid such a transition in the sport and college athletics as a whole?
Yeah, listen, it's first off, I don't take for granted a single day I get to come to work, and this is a dream of mine to be in this position, and I'm giving every ounce of everything I have to help get this program back to the times that you mentioned earlier, and the times that I grew up watching, and whether it was when my brother played here, when Thad was getting started, or you go back to some of those Final Four runs even before that's what we're fighting and working towards every single day. Now, college basketball has changed dramatically since then, right? And the Big Ten has changed. in a Big Ten is better than it has ever been, and it's not even close. So we got a lot of work to do, but I'm excited about where we are in year 2. 7-2 heading into a big non-conference game, but we got to keep building and growing each and every day to get back to where this program belongs.
And obviously, we talk a lot of big picture stuff and NIL stuff, which, a lot of fans were worried about going in, but obviously they see the fruits of that labor with the football team. Is it the same deal on the hardwood where you quite literally need what was the collective and now just flat out the money to be able to get to the top players to get them to come to the program? Is that just as easy as that?
It's on the surface, yes. I mean, it's complicated below that, but I think NIL plays a major factor in college basketball, just like it is playing in college football. And listen, here at a place like Ohio State where, we have, the best football program in the country, in my opinion, it causes some complications for us in basketball in that space. But, there's a desire certainly to continue raising our level from a basketball program standpoint, certainly within, our building and across campus. And it just takes a lot of hard work, and we need a lot of people to come alongside us and partner with us to help us be even more competitive in the NIL space, because it is really, really important.
Has it changed your job? How much has it changed your job when it comes to like fundraising and things of that nature? Or are you just already into that because of you being so young compared to some of the guys you coach against?
Yeah, well, I think that's one thing. I don't know if it necessarily changed for me because this is all I know as a head coach. And I think the hard part is, there's change happening every single year. And that's the part that you have to navigate now. And you got to be adaptable. You got to be creative. You got to stay on your toes and find ways to operate within the rules that keep changing quite regularly. So it's just a different time. And I think, the Big Ten's different, college basketball is different, but, we're trying to be as aggressive and as predictive in what's coming as we can, so we can plan. And it's challenging, but, I think so far we're moving in the right direction.
I find it very interesting at a university like Indiana in the Big Ten. They've always been a basketball school, and yet football was able to get the attention of boosters. And it's kind of the inverse at Ohio State. I've been told my whole life, well, Ohio State, it's a football school, but I'm like, man, basketball has had some unbelievable runs. You reference the Final Fours. Your brother certainly knows about that as well. Is that a similar dynamic, though, that you guys have been in the shadows of the football program, but you need the same boosters who are stepping up to help the football program? You kind of need them and their support as well.
Yeah, I think Ohio State it's certainly right. Football is the kind of the flagship of our department, and we all benefit from that. But I think Ohio State is an everything school. I mean, you look at wrestling, you look at what Coach McGuff has done at women's basketball. You look across the mat, you look at soccer, you look at our men's lacrosse team this last year. Like, I think Ohio State's an everything school now. In the NIL space, there's not unlimited resources where everybody gets everything they want. But I think we're all trying to work together and come alongside each other to really just help keep moving every program in a positive direction as the landscape continues to change, knowing that football, is going to be a big part of that. So I'm excited about, and feel like the support we've gotten from our athletic department and our donors and our boosters has been really good. We got to keep pushing to raise that level. But, we've had good support, and we're going to keep trying to build it up as much as we can.
Coach Jake Diebler joining us. Ohio State Buckeyes, they take on West by God, Virginia, coming up this weekend up here in Cleveland. Rick Pitino had mentioned how great college basketball is right now, the quality of it, and he mentioned the influx of foreign-born players. You have several. What's college basketball? What turn has college basketball been like since the addition of more foreign-born players?
Yeah, well, I think, obviously Coach Pitino's a legend, and I think what he says makes a lot of sense. And you look at our game last night, there was an international presence on the floor through the entirety of the game for both sides. And I think what we're seeing is we've seen college basketball get older in the last few years and stay older. We had a record number of guys, I think, that stayed in college versus going on to the NBA. And now we've added this kind of bucket we can recruit from with the international, the international market, which has gotten deeper because of what NIL has been able to provide for guys to come over and play. So, yes, I think the overall talent, the experience in college basketball is the highest it's ever been.
Bruce Thornton, if people are scoring at home and they should be paying attention, has a chance to become the all-time points leader, scoring leader at Ohio State. He's 9th right now, and last night he had a mega game. Just how special has he been, and is he just continuing to get better?
Yeah, well, he works at a rate that's different, and it's elite, and that's why he continues to get better. And I think the reason he's playing at such a high level is because all he cares about is winning. He's not out there chasing anything except winning. And when you work as hard as Bruce does and you keep winning at the forefront of your mind over everything else, and you add his talent and who he is, this is what you get. And it's been impressive. It's been really impressive, the efficiency he's operated. And we're asking him to go on the other side of the floor oftentimes and guard the other team's best perimeter player. So he's been off to a great start, and, we got high-level trust in him, and, excited to see kind of how he's going to be able to lead us as the year goes on.
Can I ask you a really dumb question, because I don't know how it works as well as I do in football? How does the college basketball recruiting calendar work?
Yeah, well, it's that's kind of one of those things that seems to be evolving and changing quite regularly every off season. For us, I think the difference is the timing of the transfer portal. Our calendar's a little different because we're pretty much a year-round sport now. We have this. Not only are we certainly recruiting high school kids, but in the summers we're out recruiting at shoe showcase events and AAU events, and that is a big part of our recruiting calendar outside of the scholastic year. So for us, and it's changing. I mean, they're talking about moving the portal window again for us, and there's always talk about these events that happen in the spring and summer and what we can and cannot go to. So it just keeps changing, quite honestly. We don't, it's going to change again here before I think the portal opens, and, we just got to keep adapting.
All right, Coach. Well, we look forward to seeing you on the recruiting trail. Love to see you here in Northeast Ohio.
Yes, Coach, I have one more question. Why is it called Upper Sandusky when it's south of regular Sandusky?
Yeah, well, it's upper. This is the way it was explained to me. Okay, so if I'm wrong, don't get too mad at me. But it is upper the Sandusky River, if that makes sense. So we are up the Sandusky River. That's why it's Upper Sandusky.
I think they really need to reevaluate that. Okay, I'm out of questions, Tone, please.
Hey, guys, thanks for I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully I'll get to see you guys on Saturday, and if you ever need anything from me, let me know.
Absolutely, Coach. Thank you very much. Coach Jake Diebler, Ohio State men's basketball on the Fan Hotline. Outstanding from him. Tone?
It is. They're in a really, really tough spot. I brought up the Indiana comparison because, Indiana's basketball school, and yet in the NIL era, they made football work. And that is what I'm hoping for as someone who used to call Ohio State basketball games when I was in college. I want to see that program, be at the top of the Big Ten. And I feel like there should be no excuses resource-wise why that coach can't have the shiny toys that Indiana football has.
There's a lot of things going on, and like I saw the private equity thing yesterday with Utah, which always makes my heart skip a little bit there.
I don't get it.
I just don't know how many things they've made better.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It makes no sense to me.
Wasn't that what an AD is supposed to do?
Yeah, and I get it. There's
like the late great Don Cannon be rolling in his grave, right? You don't know who that is. I don't know why I mentioned that. What the hell? Why would I do that? But go ahead.
Everybody knows the late great Don whoever.
Have some respect over there. All right? Yeah. So, go ahead. What were you going to say?
This story says Utah to enter landmark private equity agreement raising $500 million. Okay, I get you're
It's
raising
going to
money.
go in the woods real quick.
I'm just going to tell you right now, like the thought is like when private equity comes in, what do? They do their best to go through the rounds of funding, and then they try to figure out how to run the business better.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, a lot of stuff eventually gets cut out, right? And then the question is, does it make it, but does it leave something better than when they picked it up? Sometimes it happens. I know some people that work at private equity in Cleveland. There are companies that thrive under private equity. What I don't understand is where is all they'll get rid of some administrative bloat, because that does happen in higher education. There's no doubt. But outside of that, are they going to sign a new TV deal? Are they going to have some big influx of money that's
Do they want
going
the
to come
Ute
in?
network, like the Longhorn Network? Is that what they want?
Is there something out there that has been previously unavailable? Like what newfound money? And then when this private equity firm starts to see that, we've already squeezed out the last dollar that we possibly could. What happens then?
I want to see what happens on the other side.
What gets cut?
Exactly. What do you do when you are going to get some advice, but also be accused of gaslighting? Lima finds out in 5 minutes on The Fan.
Brad Evans here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM Network on a hashtag Tequila Thursday.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
In your weeknight with the best segments of the day. The Fan Rewind. Weeknights at 11.
This is unbelievable. I'm going to hold on for Bernard and Mark here in a second.
This is my former TV partner.
I need to hear this here in a second here. Oh, Cavs update. I can't believe we're doing this. Cavs update brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside. The fine folks at Surfside ask you to please drink responsibly.
So, my former TV partner for those 5 playoff games, Daniel Boobie Gibson, was arrested Monday evening during a traffic stop. I got to text him and clarify this. This doesn't make any sense. He's pulled over by Beechwood Police on I-271 South for driving a pickup truck with no taillights. According to the report, Gibson told the officer he thought the lights were on. Honest mistake, right? However, after the officer opened the driver's door, he saw the switch was in the off position. And then he showed Boobie Gibson how to turn them on. So he quite literally had to flip the switch on Daniel Boobie Gibson.
We never got to flip the switch on a Boobie Gibson team.
We didn't. Wait,
we're going to have to flip the switch on this Cavs team at some point, by the way, but
now,
go ahead.
What's interesting to note here, when the officer called in Gibson's California driver's license to dispatch, he was told the license was valid, but Gibson had an active warrant out of Mansfield Municipal Court for failing to appear for a speeding ticket.
Oh,
and now
okay.
he has a mugshot.
All right, you made it out to be that he was getting sent to. He had to go make a court appearance for his lights being out.
The Huskow for not understanding the lighting mechanism.
I got pulled over for it a year ago. We stopped at a Swenson's right at dusk.
No!
And I turned my lights off to show that my order was complete.
That's right.
And forgot. And they got me on 71.
I think they've got a deal.
By Brecksville.
I think they've got a secret deal with Swenson's.
It's a big deal.
That is dumb.
I had to pay in galley boys.
So he had a speed. Well, he just didn't mail in a speeding ticket, or
I guess.
Yeah,
he's a mugshot.
Yeah.
Oh God,
that happens a lot.
All right. Well, at least it's nothing. He'll get this figured out. At least that's nothing too terribly bad, right? Speeding tickets, whatever. Didn't show up to court for a speeding ticket. I'm sure he'll pay a fine. And
but you get a bench warrant for it, then you get more fines, and you have to go spend the night in jail, so you pay your bench warrant.
I see. I didn't know how this works, and I'm Fatlock. I'm supposed to know how the legal system works, and I don't know. You're right. I'm like one of the guys who some of the practices. I've been in a room 30 years, so Owen's gonna have to go in for me. Is that you, Ken? No, this is totally Ken. I've grown a beard. Totally me.
Shaved off about
All right,
3.
which call do you want to take? Do you want to take the one that says you're gaslighting people, or do you want to take Mark in Toledo who wants to help you with your snowblower? It's your choice, Tone.
Wait. Can you get both? Can you do the gaslighting?
No, we're not doing them at the same time.
Well, you got to remove the gas from the snowblower.
Which caller do you want me to click on? Do you want me to get? I'm gonna get both of them, but which one do you want to talk to first? Let's get Mark in Toledo with the snowblower advice first. Hello, Mark.
Hello. How are you, fellas?
We're doing well, Mark. Go ahead and help Tone with a snowblower.
So, for any small engine, you want to use ethanol-free fuel. You don't want to buy the regular gas fuel at your gas station because that stuff goes bad in 30 days. So, and you want to buy the ethanol-free gas.
Now, where do you get that, though, Mark?
This is Mark. This is exactly what my father-in-law told me yesterday. Unbelievable.
I like your father-in-law already. So you can get it at Sheets. A lot of Sheets have them.
Ethanol-free.
They're popping up like pimples on a 14-year-old.
Okay. All right. Mark, thank you very much for the call. There you go.
Say that, too?
He did not
say that one?
He did not. He did not colorfully describe that.
It's like In the Garden with Gary or Car Guys. I mean, this is unbelievable with you.
That's a nice callback to 4 hours ago.
Yeah. No, he was listening, probably listening for free on the Free Odyssey app. All right, Bernard in Oklahoma. I don't know if he has any advice for you. He wants to go after you for something here. Okay. Bernard, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, you got me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, so Lima, the professional gaslighting this guy Lima has been doing, dude, it has to be studied. So in case you didn't know, people from around the nation have been tuning in to listen to hear not what a guy from Oklahoma has to say about Shidor, what Cleveland sports radio has to say about the guy on your own freaking team. Lima goes, people are acting like we have it out for Shidor. Is he a victim in all this? Yeah, he is. Let me tell you what. Lima wants to bring up politics, so let's take it there. I mean, the Kamala Harris word salad this guy gave yesterday in response to the afternoon show, biblical. Straight biblical. The Browns told me it was true. He was literally out there peddling Shidor propaganda over the airwaves for half a year, as if people aren't tuning in for some kind of independent expert opinion, which, in case you didn't know, but that's your own opinion.
Bernard, that's not what I said. That's what the afternoon show said that I said. That's not what I said. So you weren't listening closely, and they weren't listening very closely. And in turn, I wasn't listening to them.
All got it
so
wrong.
I apologize to them.
Wrong.
The beauty is, Bernard, and the great thing about Shidor is he's not playing the victim. You guys are playing the victim for him. The beauty of Shidor is he doesn't care what you. He does not care what you guys are saying, Bernard.
No.
He's just going out there and bawling, and that's what I love about the kid. And what I hate about you guys is you're making excuses for him that he's not making.
Don't be hating.
And that I will hate him, Bernard, because he didn't know. He didn't know specifically what I said.
Why do you even go to camp?
And this
why do you go to camp,
dude?
Are you there getting autographs? Are you there just for the perks? Are you not watching the field?
I actually wasn't at camp much this year. I didn't have my binoculars like the afternoon show did from 100 yards away.
We can tell.
So what did I miss, Bernard? You tell me what I missed.
Dude, so let me get this straight.
Yes.
You're in Cleveland.
Yes.
And the worst team in football is really peddling you propaganda.
No, what did I miss, Bernard? You tell me what I missed. What did I miss in training camp?
Why do you not live in the city?
Are you not answering the questions? Are you just doing your thing? Why don't you go ahead and answer my questions, Bernard? What did I miss? What did I miss? Tell me.
Obviously, you missed that your guy Gabriel is dinking and dunking.
Not my guy.
Field.
So again, you have no idea my opinion on Dylan Gabriel. Who is spoon feeding you your bad takes about what I said about Dylan Gabriel? Ken, could you enlighten Bernard? He needs some help. Could you enlighten Bernard?
Did not want Dylan Gabriel.
I did not want him. I hated that draft pick. I said Shidor was better than him. So you're wrong. So you were wrong, Bernard.
No, you didn't. All the way up until
you don't get to make up lies, Bernard. And this is what I love. Shidor doesn't do this. His fans do this. So I like Shidor. I don't like his fans. You guys are idiots. He has been awesome through this whole experience. So Bernard, I apologize to Shidor for having to deal with you guys.
Go ahead, bro.
Because you guys are bad at this. He seems to be actually pretty good at it.
All the way up into the San Francisco game, you literally said, I can't tell the difference between Dylan Gabriel and Shidor. Did you not?
I said that in those games. And by the way, statistically, I was right. I was right.
You did say and Ken, you didn't say anything to him.
Because he knew I was right. Statistically, I was right.
Because I couldn't say anything to him because statistically, like he said, he was right, Bernard. Don't drag me into your thing you got here.
Shidor had the better throws. Shidor had the better throws, Bernard. I see you're worked up. Shidor had the better throws, which I said.
The only thing I said, the only thing I could say to the guy at the time, Bernard, now you got me mad at you, and I wasn't even mad at you.
No, because it's
He's about to call you an idiot, Bernard. You're about to lose the one guy that was on your side.
So isn't that how it works? Isn't that how it works with doubters?
And when he plays better, we give him credit.
That not? Wait a minute.
You don't get the credit before you play good.
Now I want to know. He was a top two. You even said he was a top two quarterback coming out of the draft that you thought. And then so he gets into your building and he's literally handing out water bottles and crap to the linemen?
I didn't know he was handing out water bottles and crap to the linemen. I didn't know anything about that, Bernard.
What does fourth string do?
So
Bernard,
fourth strings in the NFL do not hand out water bottles to other people. That's not how it works. I don't care if he was a practice squad guy.
No, he can't read a play sheet all of a sudden.
Who on the show said? Now I'm having the argument here.
Now you're just creating.
Bernard, I was on your side until this.
This is part of the victimization stuff.
Hold on.
They have lumped in every white host in America and said that they're saying things that we're not saying.
Wait.
You didn't even get it right about what I said about Dylan Gabriel. So you are swinging and you are missing in royal fashion.
Hold on a second here.
Now you literally said him and Dylan Gabriel.
Did not say Dylan Gabriel was better than Shidor. I've never said it. So your whole premise is off. You called with a bad premise. You were going to take me to town with a premise that was not remotely accurate.
And you have to remember this, Bernard, is that when he did say that, and then you accused...
Is he lying? Ken, please have my back.
You're lying or you're mishearing it.
Bernard,
one or the other. It's not good.
Hold on, Tone. Let me listen to the guy for a second here. Bernard, what are you accusing him of lying about?
Did he not say that he can't just up till last week, dude?
But you
Bernard
said
doesn't even know what I said. He doesn't even know. Kenny, you're trying to walk him through it. You're failing because he doesn't know what I said.
Second, so I can.
He's been told what I said.
What you said.
He has been told what I have said. You have been spoon-fed bad information, Bernard. And we got to go. We are out of time.
Talk me too, bro.
I'm afraid that we are out of time, Bernard. It's very sad. You are flailing away, and you don't know what I said. So next time you call, get re-educated on what I said.
Let me say this. Now hold on.
I have the flavor in a sweater.
You
Was he calling about the snowblower?
No.
Yeah.
You said that you couldn't tell the difference. You also mentioned statistically. My retort was, again, who has the higher ceiling? Which you would say, Shidor.
Yeah. We both have said that from day one.
I couldn't do it because the stats were the same, so I couldn't fight you on the stats.
And now he played better?
I was mad at you for saying it because obviously we know who's better.
And now he played better, and what did we say? We noted that he played better. This isn't hard, guys.
What a call.
You don't get the credit before you earn the credit.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, you're accusing him of speaking for everybody on that side. I don't want you speaking for me when it comes to this.
I'm not speaking for you.
I mean, if he wants to fight you, he wants to fight you. But you said a lot of things that claimed that you were speaking for me.
What do you mean?
I'll talk to you about it tomorrow morning on The Fan.
They read, they sing,
Damn.
they dance, always take
Damn, what a morning.
risk or a chance.
All right, go listen to the Jake Niebler interview. Go watch them play basketball. Have a great day, friends.
Attention and making sure that you're
Sounds good. Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans, and you guys are a loser show.
This is Boomer Science.